Immediately, a large number of monsters appeared, this time much more terrifying than before.
But Seo Ju-hyun still calmly sneered and said, "The second wave, huh?"
This time the monsters have just appeared in large numbers and their ferocity has also increased.
Even Seo Ju-hyun is having a hard time, they keep appearing, they're surrounding us.
What's more important is that they don't care about others, they just madly rush at us. If so, then just one hit would be enough to kill them all. Ju-hoon's hand was currently working at full capacity to kill all these monsters. At the most urgent moment, a sudden breaking sound rang out, causing Jae-ha to immediately turn around and look at Seo Ju-hyun with a worried look. This sound. So that was the sound of the knife breaking in Seo Ju-hyun's hand. Damn it, it broke. The Egyptian funeral knife activated, that's why I told him to be careful. Stop talking nonsense and run, we don't have any holy relic left to fight them, Ju-hoon said as he turned around and ran away. Being with Seo Ju-hyun really makes Jae-ha go to heaven soon, oh my god. Let's run into the cabin, the situation is completely unfavorable for them right now, it really makes Ju-hoon want to give up. Damn it, there's no more the holy relic to fight, I should give up. But Jae-ha was unusually resilient this time, saying whatever, we have to try to survive. Analyzing carefully, this tomb is difficult to conquer, it is very large, this sea area itself is also part of the tomb, it is very difficult to find a way in. Those idiots got angry and came in droves, they sent a bunch of subordinates to hunt us down, because I know where it is. But we don't have any more fighting holy relics here, without the holy relic in hand they can't fight those monsters, they can only hide here. At this moment, Seo Ju-hyun immediately noticed the boat in front of him and quickly suggested to Jae-ha, let's get on that boat, we will escape from it. Looking for the boat steering function, we will use it to cross the sea. What Jae-ha cares about is, do you know how to steer? And by chance and surprise, the two of them accidentally met Vivian here again. Oh, the stolen hat, Thomas heard that and quickly asked, where? Are those bastards the ones who stole the holy relic? Thomas looked at Vivian, angrily confirming once again. On the opposite side, Ju-hyun also recognized that girl. Now he knew which team they were from, so they were with the girl, meaning they were from the American excavation team. There were some familiar faces. Jae-ha couldn't help but worry as he saw them approaching, but Seo Ju-hyun calmly replied, just leave them alone. You have some good stuff too, with that smirk of yours, you want to steal the holy relic from that group again. Thinking is doing, he immediately assigned the task to Jae-ha, I will handle these guys, quickly go find a boat and a rope. Yes, the rope had the opportunity to show itself again and was very interested, human, let's play, let's play. At this time, Thomas had already jumped onto Seo Ju-hyun's boat, and questioned him harshly, you are the one who stole our things. I will take them all back, Seo Ju-hyun replied calmly, who said you could do that? Looking at Thomas with challenging eyes and smile, it seems you have some useful holy relics, do you mind handing them over to me? Being provoked by him, Thomas immediately went crazy, you bastard, I will make you stop laughing. Thomas was the one who attacked first, Ju-hyun was able to dodge his slash for the time being. But you can't underestimate the opponent, for a big guy he's quite fast, but that holy relic. As an ranker, of course Seo Ju-hyun couldn't just stand there and wait to die, he had to return the favor, so Ju-hyun's elbow hit Thomas straight in the stomach. Immediately after that move is a straight punch to the opponent's face, I said hand them over. The punch was so strong that it caused Thomas to bleed from his mouth. But surprisingly he was still able to stand firm after those two consecutive attacks from Ju-hyun, he didn't fall. Oh no, and so, the person being chased now is Seo Ju-hyun. He even had a piece of his shirt torn off his shoulder by Thomas's steel pipe, luckily his body was still uninjured. It looks like a steel pipe on the outside but inside is a holy relic sword. If I get hit by one slash, I'm done for, with that speed and power. It was best to avoid a direct confrontation. So Seo Ju-hyun decided not to run away anymore and immediately took out his axe to fight his opponent. It seems like you understand your current situation, but that doesn't change anything. Unexpectedly, Ju-hyun used extreme speed to rush towards Thomas, surprising the opponent. What do you think? I always have good luck blowing up all the enemies. Silver axe, so Ju-hyun's axe just like that tore apart Thomas's clothes. Leaving the opponent completely naked now, what the hell? You should have avoided that, why did you block it? So Seo Ju-hyun successfully took Thomas's steel pipe. Show your true form, the holy relic. The holy relic's information includes, the holy relic of the flower knight bestowed upon the brave Shinra by the king, the holy relic rank A, the holy relic consumable, durability 2594 out of 5000. Seo Ju-hyun seemed very satisfied with this item, great, it looks quite nice. Just in time, Seo Ju-hyun had just defeated Thomas when Jae-ha arrived by boat, team leader, get on. Before Ju-hyun left, he did not forget to provoke the other party with a few words, just in time, hey big guy, I will use this holy relic effectively, rest assured. Thomas could not do anything to him now, he could only angrily shout, come back here, you bastard. Give it back to me. Having just had the holy relic stolen, Thomas now has to face those monsters as well. Ju Hian had successfully boarded the boat, seeing Thomas like that really satisfied him.
Where are we going?
Just go straight, I'll show you the way. So Ju Hian and Jaeha left this dangerous sea together. But what worried Seo Ju Hian now was, this better have a lot of fuel. It should be enough. How far do we plan to go? Jaeha said to him wondering.
Speaking of which, before Seo Ju Hian could finish his sentence, an unexpected item was thrown onto his boat.
Turning to the side, I saw Thomas and several other CIA agents walking alongside me. Stop there, you bastard. Damn it, his friends saved him. There were 2 people on that boat who had a grudge against him, Vivian and Thomas. Give them back, you lucky bastard.
Let's try something different this time, go rope. As soon as Seo Ju Hian gave the order, the rope immediately went.
It was playtime. He turned to Linda and wrapped his arms tightly around her. Let her go down, then directly drag Linda away, making the rest of the people extremely worried. Linda was thrown straight into the sea by the rope. Seo Ju Hian now let out a sneer, sending them a message. It's best to quickly save her. That holy relic has summoned monsters underwater to hunt me down.
Linda, wait a minute, turn the boat around. On the other side, Linda was in a panic as she was thrown into the sea like that.
Another agent expressed that he did not want to do as Thomas said, but if he turned the boat around, he would escape. This made Thomas even angrier. I said turn the boat around.
Bastard, you will pay for this. So the 2 Seo Ju Hian successfully escaped the pursuit of the CIA agents and reached the place where the new holy relic was located.
The holy relic was hiding right under that tree, almost there. Ju Hian took the sword and walked towards the tree in front of him. The holy relic saw him and immediately spoke in a provocative tone, you have found me.
Human, if you want me, you must offer something worthy. Come here and satisfy me. What if we say no? While it was not understanding what he meant.
Then a slash was about to be launched. It was time to eat the holy relic, making it uneasy. What are you doing?
I will show you how sharp I am.
Just like that, the sword tip aimed straight at the tree trunk and rushed forward.
Just then heard a scream of the holy relic, no? Seo Ju Hian successfully captured it in a moment?
Impossible, the tree trunk was just cut off in the blink of an eye. It fell down directly. And the holy relic that Ju Hian got this time was Zhenghe's map, the Western treasure, the holy relic rank A, the holy relic consumable, durability 2 out of 5,000. Look, Zhenghe's map. Jaeha was a bit curious when he heard this name, Zhenghe. Going back a bit, with the Western treasure map, he traveled all over the West to collect treasures. Zhenghe explored the Northern Sea under the order of the Ming Dynasty Emperor. With more than 60 ships, he traveled across Southeast Asia, passed through India and reached Africa, recording all the treasures he passed through. I could feel it right away. Fix it as soon as possible. I cut Keira in half so the durability is reduced. An aggressive Seo Ju Hian and Jaeha always have to bear his aggression. For God's sake, go easy on the holy relic next time. Alright, the holy relic, close the crypt. After getting the map, the 2 of them continued on the boat to another location.
A plan was also formed in Seo Ju Hian's mind at the same time. The scam began.
The city they went to was Macau. Ju Hian looked at his companion repairing the holy relic with some concern. How long would it take to create a copy? I just started, Jaeha leisurely replied. But team leader, we are really going to hand over fake goods. I think it's too risky. He still has some concerns about Seo Ju Hian's plan this time. Is it really worth the risk? We'll be paid a pretty penny. Why don't you hand over the holy relic? Even Irene had the same thought as Jaeha. I also thought it was too risky. It was best not to make too many enemies. After saying that, Ju Hian explained that she did it because it was necessary, especially to solve her problem. She didn't understand what this had to do with herself.
Ha! Just listen to Ju Hian's suggestion. Try putting your hands on that holy relic.
As soon as Irene placed her hand on the holy relic, Seo Ju Hian immediately ordered it. Listen, the holy relic. Mark all the points related to her misfortune.
Right now, the holy relic starts to operate. The places related to Irene's misfortune immediately appear on the map.
Making Irene surprised. Oh, it has this effect. And the place with the most unlucky points is Turkey. It seems we need to go to Turkey to deal with her problem. We need the map for this reason. Of course, I also want to use it later for personal reasons. Even though what Ju Hian did just now was right, Jaeha still intended to stop his plan, even though we needed it. But that doesn't change. This fake will disappear after a while. We're done for. We're talking about Keira Clark. She'll hunt us to the ends of the earth. Just thinking about it makes Jaeha shiver. You're right, except she's going to hunt us down anyway. Ju Hian's calm response made Jaeha wonder, what? Seo Ju Hian slowly explained to the 2 that Keira wanted to take over the entire holy relic map. She had a few useful subordinates by her side. She would find each tomb and conquer them. I also knew that the Columbus map was the most annoying thing in her holy relic pile. Once a location was marked, it would be filled with information about the catacombs and the holy relic.
Many catacombs around the world are in her hands, Turkey being one of them. And yet we are going to Turkey, eh? Not only that, she will steal all the holy relics we have. She will target you too, your holy relic.
Hearing this, Irene paid more attention to his words. Ju Hyun continued seriously, I don't have much of the holy relic to lose, but for her it's a different story. She craves for powerful holy relics like her, but because it is a parasitic species, she cannot directly steal it. That is, she will use any means to obtain the holy relic, kidnapping, blackmail, she knows no limits. This really happened before he died, there was no way someone like Irene could become a god of destruction. He didn't tell the two of them this thought, he just let himself know. Don't worry, I won't let them touch you. Oh, Ju Hyun, the two of them just acted out a love scene in front of Jaeha, causing Jaeha to instantly turn into a light bulb. So Ju Hyun told herself, but this time she wouldn't be like that, the power of the god of bad luck and the endless source of money of the Hilton family would be hers. For that reason, I need to do this trick, we will tease and lure her out. Recently, Keira is somewhere around Macau, when she finds out that the holy relic is fake, she will lose control. That's when I showed up to explain everything, she would ask to meet me to give me a bullet. A perfect plan was drawn up by SEO Ju Hyun. What Yu Jaeha was concerned about was, what was he going to do after meeting her? Only to see SEO Ju Hyun give a devilish smile and reply, I will destroy all of her the holy relic maps. Hearing this, as usual, Jaeha immediately put on a panicked expression and shouted, what kind of desperate plan is this? Ju Hyun was no stranger to this kind of personality of the other party, he just calmly said, shut up, if you've heard it then quickly get to work. The reason SEO Ju Hyun came up with this plan was because he thought that if he kept ignoring Keira, he would sooner or later run into her, so it was best to take this opportunity to play with her. At the CIA headquarters, the agents were talking about the matter, you said that the crypt was sealed even though you hadn't found the holy relic. That means some bastard stole it, the blonde man shouted loudly to the others. The others could only lower their heads and say in a low voice, I'm really sorry. Not only that, agents Thomas and Linda were captured by the Chinese side, doing a good job. But we didn't expect to be attacked, I didn't know that a very skilled user of the holy relic would appear, we weren't informed at all, they replied worriedly. This made the other party even angrier, he was saying that it was the headquarters' fault for not communicating clearly, right? Just then, another agent came over to announce that there was news from General Keira. There was news already, damn it, prepare yourself, you guys are all dead tonight. On the screen, Keira appeared accordingly, what's all the fuss about, cheer up, I'm not angry. But General Keira, before the blonde boy could finish speaking, directly interrupted him and said, we have obtained the holy relic. By the way, he hesitated not daring to finish his sentence. Keira on the other side understood what the latter part of the sentence meant, directly interrupting him, failed but we used another method, quite sad. I really wanted to see you complete the mission, but the world-famous CIA failed. This failure made the CIA agents not dare to face her, they could only silently listen to her teachings. I made a request to Edward and he was successful, the deal is about to happen. You guys can investigate the user of the holy relic very well, so surely you won't fail? Yes, they replied in unison. I am very interested in strong people. Yu Jaeha soon completed the forgery and handed it over to Edward, who then handed it over to Keira. No matter what happened after the transaction, it seems Keira didn't realize it was a fake. Thanks to that, Yu Jaeha could focus on repairing the holy relic. Some of the holy relics I often used in the holy relic maps were already repaired. But the repair process was also very hard, and it took too long. One person was repairing forever, while the other person could only stay by the side and urge him to hurry up. I told Irene to practice using the holy relic, it looked a bit uncomfortable but she was a newbie. Yes, that's right. Old man Edward paid us right away so we ate a little extravagantly. That old man would be shocked if he knew the truth. Yu Jaeha was so shocked that he couldn't speak after just a glance at the bill. What? That's an outrageous price? Ah, all the good stuff. My turn, everyone else's part is done. Now it's your turn to act. Early in the morning, Seo Ju Hyun was already being scolded by someone. SEO Ju Hyun? That damned liar. You sold me out? What did you do? Edward said angrily, pointing the gun at Ju Hyun. Everything was going according to his plan, so Ju Hyun was very calm when he met him. Hello Edward. Nice to meet you. You're finally here. But the other party is almost out of control. Don't joke around. Do you know what you did? What do you mean? I sold the holy relic like you said. Edward was so agitated that he started swearing. The holy relic, you bastard. You swindler. Ju Hyun heard this and simply let out a contemptuous laugh in his heart. You finally realized? But on the outside, he still acted calm as if nothing had happened.
Calm down. There's no way I would lie to you. Holy shit. What the hell? You seem to be playing the part. What's wrong? Tell me. Edward finally calmed down. He slowly told me. The holy relic he gave me disappeared. General Keira was hunting for my head. Ju Hyun went with the flow and said. They abused the holy relic and made it disappear. They said it worked well. Of course he understood that. He was the one who made it. Of course, the fake one had some potential. But there was a bigger problem. Edward's tone became serious as he spoke. When the holy relic disappeared, a number of others disappeared with it. And the British Prime Minister was one of them. Jae-ha, who was standing next to him, couldn't keep calm and shouted. What? The Prime Minister suddenly disappeared. This is a big deal. Edward replied with a headache. You think I don't know? He's about to meet with the general. And this happened. We're dead to her. What should we do? Jae-ha turned his eyes to Seo Ju Hyun for help. And what came into his eyes was Ju Hyun's face, smiling with satisfaction. He was smiling. Jae-ha couldn't help but question his captain. Why did he open the door? The British Prime Minister was in trouble. This was bad. For Edward it was bad news, but for Seo Ju Hyun it was. Yes, and it was also a great opportunity. Jae-ha still didn't understand what he was trying to say. Opportunity. Seo Ju Hyun slowly explained that Keira always threw herself into trouble. This was the best time to trick her at this desperate moment. Look and learn, little brother. Every time he heard these words, Jae-ha's tension grew. What was he up to? Seo Ju Hyun walked towards the gloomy Edward on the other side. He said in a low voice. Edward, stop it. How long are you planning on staying here? It made him feel confused. Ha! You can contact Keira now, right? I need you to connect me with her. Ju Hyun's request took him by surprise, General Keira. Edward hesitated a bit. Calling her now would only make things worse. Seo Ju Hyun heard him say that. She cursed inwardly. So he didn't want to contact her directly. That coward. Oh well, he was just a middleman. He still put on a good face and said, I didn't ask you to call me to give me some stupid explanation. If only I could help you, as if the other party had immediately taken notice when he said he wanted to help. Really? He took out his phone and called Keira. Give me a minute. I know. Call her. It's better than sitting there waiting to be killed. That's true. So, Edward talked to Keira for a while on this side and Ju Hyun stood by the side silently observing him. Finally, Edward called Keira. It seemed like he was scolded quite heavily. After a while, he handed the phone back to him. Here. Seo Ju Hyun didn't hesitate, quickly picked up the phone and spoke to Keira on the other side. It's an honor to talk to General Keira. Keira heard his voice and replied coldly. Great. I didn't know I would talk to you like this. I heard you played some of my men and took the holy relic. Because the holy relic you gave me had some problems. It's wrong to say that you have to take responsibility for this. After saying that, Keira's eyes suddenly turned cold. But her voice was not enough to scare him. Ju Hyun on the other side still calmly replied. That's right. But it was no fun being accused like that. I took back the holy relic and gave it to Edward. His words directly agitated Keira. I will kill you if you lie. Tell me. What did you do to the holy relic? I didn't do anything. Ju Hyun replied calmly. Your arrogance makes Keira extremely uncomfortable, you bastard. Without further ado, Seo Ju Hyun went straight to the point that I wanted to help, so I contacted the general. I heard about the British Prime Minister. Keira remained silent to listen to him. This was not something I could ignore, because after dealing with me, both she and Edward would probably not want to work with me again. It's terrible for a newcomer like me, someone who has the talent to use the holy relic. If I lose all my business like this, how will I survive? So as an additional service, I'll give you a hand. I really hope we can cooperate more in the future. The other CIA agents were a little curious to see Keira so serious. Who was she talking to? I don't know, probably Edward. Of course, she took Ju Hyun's words to heart. After a while, Keira asked him, how do you plan to help us? You said you could find the British Prime Minister. The course of this conversation was completely within what Seo Ju Hyun had planned beforehand, having grasped her weakness. Ju Hyun immediately got closer to what she wanted. Exactly, I heard from Edward that she owned a few the holy relic maps. I wouldn't reveal myself if I used those holy relics in the normal way,
but what I wanted to do was activate the power hidden within those holy relics to locate the British Prime Minister. Many people think that the power of the holy relic can be used, but that is wrong. I can use the hidden power in the holy relic too.
Edward and Jaeha's eyes widened in surprise as they heard this. They both looked towards Seo Ju-hyun to confirm, really? What caught their eyes was Ju-hyun's face that clearly showed the word no. He was really a cheating bastard. On the other side, Keira also seemed very eager to hear this information from Seo Ju-hyun. You said that you can use the hidden function of the holy relic, really? She's starting to believe it, Ju-hyun thought with a satisfied smile. He continued, that's right, I was able to shake off the CIA and preserve the holy relic by using the hidden power of the holy relic. How about it? Keira naturally couldn't immediately agree to his suggestion. She silently thought for a while. Finally agreeing to his compromise, fine, I will let you use my holy relic, but on one condition. Even though she agreed with Ju-hyun, Keira was still very wary of him. You must go to the place I designate and you cannot bring any of the holy relic with you. You must do everything under my supervision, understand? Okay, Ju-hyun replied directly, temporarily gaining the other party's trust. Very good. After that, the conversation quickly ended. Ju-hyun's eloquence surprised Edward. It was unbelievable. He had convinced the general so easily. You sit here and relax, I'll go there alone. Edward heard that and looked a little surprised. Really, thanks. What about me? Jaeha said excitedly. As for you, Ju-hyun immediately gave you the task. You can follow me, you can't go anywhere else. And finished fixing the other stuff. Jaeha was still excited, but when he heard Ju-hyun say this, he wanted to collapse on the spot. At that moment, the system immediately appeared a notification that, the scammer is invincible, you have received a new title. Seo Ju-hyun, the grave robber who scammed instead of digging graves. As soon as he skimmed through it, he immediately thought, Crow, are you watching everything? Are you kidding me? Social ability has decreased. The success rate of scamming the holy relic has increased. You can show the holy relic your bad side. Ju-hyun was a little annoyed with this function. Why should he show his bad side? Listen stupid, go to work, I'll go wherever. Okay, good luck. The only one suffering and having a sore spine here is Jaeha. Keira called me to a location, which was a hotel near the one I had stayed at before. She told me not to bring the holy relic, but a soldier can't go anywhere without a gun. I gathered all the useful holy relics and disguised them to carry with me. Because I used domination to make them change their form, but it didn't last long, so I had to end this quickly. Jaeha was overwhelmed by the luxury of the hotel as soon as she entered. They were in a luxury hotel. Seo Ju-hyun was not surprised because he understood, of course, this was her class. At this moment, a hotel employee walked towards Jaeha, smiling and asking, what do you need help with? He was a bit confused when he was suddenly asked, huh? Ju-hyun, who was beside him, immediately spoke up and said that she came to help him because he looked like he was lost. Okay, we came here to meet someone. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Finally someone came to welcome us. In the distance, two tall and strong men were walking towards them. You are Seo Ju-hyun, yes, the general must have sent you too. Lead the way, Ju-hyun suggested in a low voice. The other party also immediately turned around and led him away, following me. Very quickly, Ju-hyun and Jaeha arrived at Keira's room. Hearing their footsteps, she guessed that they had arrived, so she turned around and greeted them. Hello, Seo Ju-hyun. I don't see you carrying any holy relic, it seems you followed my orders. Standing in front of Keira, Ju-hyun calmly replied, of course. Seeing the other party for the first time made Jaeha surprised about her. I thought she was a general, how come she's a general so young? So Ju-hyun replied in a low voice, she must be wearing a lot of makeup. Shut up. Seo Ju-hyun didn't beat around the bush, going straight to the point, the holy relic. His calmness made Keira very uncomfortable, but she still had to lead him to the holy relic, the arrogant one, this way. As soon as he glanced at the things on the table, he immediately recognized them as a rank B pirate map of Barbarossa, a rank C hand-drawn world map of Anaximander, and a rank A map of Columbus. I have to handle them all here. Now show me, I hope I do well, or I'll get shot. Keira looked at him with cold eyes, not forgetting to give him a warning. Don't worry, I can borrow a pen. Ju-hyun's suggestion made Keira confused. Pen. But still get the pen for you, don't play any tricks. The general saw that I didn't bring the holy relic. Then allow me, he said and started writing on the pile of maps. At this moment, the CIA agent saw Ju-hyun's action and shouted loudly. What did you do with the general's precious holy relic? Seo Ju-hyun remained calm and replied that this was a necessary step to activate the hidden power within the holy relic. Leave him alone, the CIA agent wanted to say something, but since Keira already said so, he had no choice but to stop. But, hopefully it works. Leave it to me, Ju-hyun replied with a meaningful smile. They stood there and saw Seo Ju-hyun doing that and couldn't help but wonder about those characters. What did he write? According to Ju Hyun's explanation, this is called tomb hieroglyphics, the language of the holy relic. She knows they love to talk, right? They even have their own characters. This ability of his made Keira a little interested. Oh, so you can read it. A lot of things happened and rightly so. The reason Ju Hyun could understand these characters was because, before, I had the holy relic for archaeology. But now, I don't have the holy relic. The crow must have done something. What is it planning? After a while, he finished writing. The incantation was complete. The hidden power would activate. Let me show you. Okay. What they didn't know was that the spells with hidden powers were just a hoax. What I wrote had nothing to do with finding the British Prime Minister. Before coming here, I had determined the Prime Minister's location using Zheng He's map. I already knew the answer. In order not to arouse suspicion, Ju Hyun immediately shouted happily. Found it. I know the location of the British Prime Minister. That surprised Keira. Really? You can even tell me the exact location where the British Prime Minister is missing. He is in the Sahara Desert. Give me a piece of paper. I will write down the exact location. Because he's on the move. So let's expand the search area. We should hurry because he's in the middle of the desert, just recorded the coordinates for them. After receiving the paper from Ju Hyun, Keira quickly ordered her subordinates to contact the nearest base at this location. I authorize the use of the holy relic to probe and find the British Prime Minister immediately. Yes. Just as her subordinates left to look for the British Prime Minister, Keira's gun was pointed at Seo Ju Hyun's forehead. Even though the gun was right in front of him, Ju Hyun still spoke calmly. Now I've kept my word. Keira didn't seem to intend to let Ju Hyun go so easily. Not until the Prime Minister was safe. In a moment, the two of them were surrounded by CIA agents. The two of them stayed there until they found him. Jae-ha couldn't help but feel indignant when he heard that. How long would it take to find him? Don't worry, my men will find him in no time. What is Keira up to in the meantime? Why don't you tell me more about the language of the holy relic? Ju Hyun immediately refused upon hearing that. Sorry, but that's a secret. This answer of his made the other party very unhappy. You want to continue doing business with me without giving up some of the cake? If she said so, then you can only explain the language of the holy relic to her. I understand. To make it easier to understand, I will demonstrate the first step first. I will explain the next steps. Okay, that's it for now. Seo Ju Hyun silently looked towards Jae-ha, signaling him to start the plan they had discussed earlier. Jae-ha behind saw his eyes and immediately understood. While Seo Ju Hyun on this side wrote down a series of symbols that were said to be the language of the holy relic. Then suddenly, Keira's subordinate returned to report that General, we have found Prime Minister Albert. Is he okay? Yes, he is weak but his life is not in danger. See? Now I can. Not letting Ju Hyun finish his sentence, Keira directly interrupted. Hurry up and finish. Your excessiveness is making Seo Ju Hyun a little uncomfortable. General, don't you think you're pushing things a little too far? I don't think you'll let me go anytime soon. Am I wrong? With that, he turned his head slightly to look at her. What caught his eyes was Keira's cold face and her warning words. If that's true, then what are you going to do? Shut up and follow my orders. There's no way I'll let someone with such abilities go easily. You'll have to cooperate with us and understand how to activate the hidden power of the holy relic. Is that so? The pen in Ju Hyun's hand suddenly stopped. He looked at Keira with a devilish smile and said, what if I say no? As soon as he saw Ju Hyun smile, Keira felt something was wrong. What? Sure enough, right after that, a loud explosion suddenly rang out. The situation became chaotic. What was going on? The explosion left Keira's map scorched. She hastily ordered her men. Damn it, my holy relic, put out the fire, yes. Hurry, yes, Keira's subordinates rushed to put out the fire. But as soon as they saw the words on the map, their facial expressions immediately turned ugly. Bloodshot eyes also appeared. Ha! Immediately after, they crazily tore up the map. The damn map made Keira panic. What are you doing? Just like that, all the CIA agents jumped in to tear Keira's holy relic apart. We must tear it apart. Me too, I will tear it apart. This action of theirs made Keira extremely angry. What are you doing? To stop them, she could only shoot bullets at their legs, my legs. It was definitely caused by the holy relic. Where is Seo Ju Hyun? He is the culprit. At this time, the CIA agent informed that, General. Both of them disappeared. In the chaos, Seo Juhyun and Yu Jae-ha had already escaped from here. Being played by Seo Juhyun like that made her very angry. That bastard. And now, as for Jae-ha and Juhyun. Somehow, miraculously, they escaped through this path. We escaped? That's great. It's just a little embarrassing to be in the middle of a fountain like this. The two of them quickly jumped out of the fountain under the puzzled gazes of passers-by. Well done, you drew all that in such a short time. I have confidence in my drawing ability. Jae-ha replied proudly. Going back a bit, right after the explosion happened, I took Yu Jae-ha the holy relic and escaped. In the panic, using the holy relic, he would come to this fountain. As a result, we succeeded. As planned, before going to see the general, I made sure he painted this fountain. The holy relic we're using is the holy relic that Kwan's lawyer carries. This holy relic is a bit ordinary, but it can be useful if you have an artist around. Paris Manhwa Artist Ink is rank B of the holy relic is consumable, durability 50 out of 100. Only after escaping did Jae-ha dare to ask Juhyun, what did he do this time? Juhyun didn't try to hide it. He immediately told him, it was nothing. When I borrowed her pen, I transformed Shakespeare's pen into hers and switched them. What I wrote on the map was the command that scared the holy relic. I remembered a few things from before to make things easier. Seo Juhyun also took advantage of the hotel staff they met at first. Okay, we're here to meet someone. And Keira's two subordinates were also in his sights. He was a Seo Juhyun. That's right, the general must have sent the two of them. At that time, he started talking to the two of them as he walked, trying to get their personal information. Why don't we talk for a bit? Introduce yourself. Keira's subordinates were initially very cautious, so shut up and follow. But with my talent for persuasion, come on, don't be like that. I'm not your enemy. I'll help you a lot. I know a lot of things to help you, General. In return, tell the general to go easy on me and let's be friends. Weird name. Then you have successfully known the opponent's name as you wanted. John. Then, while writing on the map, I wrote the orders in their names, in a language none of them understood. For the hotel staff, I pushed her to the extreme of fear. That place was room 2002. John Smith and Jim Evans were terrified when they saw the evil spirits emerging from the holy relic map. They thought the general would be in danger of his life if they did not destroy them. That was why they frantically tore apart Keira's the holy relic. As for Keira, she was currently dealing with the aftermath of what Seo Juhyun, the general, had connected with. What's up, General Clark? Long time no see, Richard. Without beating around the bush, Keira went straight to the point of this call. I heard you can use the holy relic to restore. My holy relic is severely damaged. I need you to repair it when you return from America. Richard immediately agreed happily after hearing that. Of course, no problem. Ha ha. There are a lot of holy relics that need repairing lately. I just received a request from TKBM Corporation. I'm busy repairing them now. I think the one who caused this is the same one who caused trouble with TKBM Group. Richard's expression immediately became serious when he heard Keira say that. The guy who was with you, Jae-ha-ha? If we don't hunt him down, he'll definitely get in our way later. Richard had the same thought as her. Exactly. There is good news that he wants to tell you. Don't worry, General. Pandora will be activated soon. Normal people cannot use or possess them. Here is your feebad. Irene smiled as she took the feebad from the seller. Thank you. It looks delicious. What's wrong? Is there a problem? The boss was a little confused by her sudden question. Huh? What problem? No, have a good day. Irene quickly turned around and fell away as fast as she could. She is currently in central Turkey. After buying feebad, Irene quickly returned to the car. I brought you this food. Thank you. Irene happily informed Seo Juhyun, I'm starting to get used to controlling the holy relic. It's worth the time to practice. Well, nothing happened on my way to buy bread. It's all thanks to you. Thank you. Suddenly, there seemed to be some chaos ahead. Oh my god, the sign fell down. Drive like a human. That guy. Oh my god, that car. Seo Juhyun saw that and immediately spoke up, it's a bit early to thank her, right? Irene heard that and could only smile helplessly. But things are better. I think you have good social skills. From now on, you should practice your dominance. As soon as Seo Juhyun said this, Jae-ha who was sitting next to him stopped eating feebad. What do you think he means? She still has a lot to learn. She only knows the basics of social skills.
But Seo Juhian immediately explained to them that, to prevent the holy relic from harming her body because it was a parasitic the holy relic, otherwise I would never have made her do that.
Understand?
Social skills are trash.
Jaeha didn't think the captain would use such harsh words. Trash, that hurt. Okay, I get it. Hurry up and eat and let's go. Okay, wait. The next place they went to was Turkey, Cappadocia.
As soon as he arrived here, the first feeling Juhian felt was, how strange. This crypt is fine, because the holy relic is inside Irene's body, the crypt should have disappeared. Look, the other side of the crypt collapsed.
Yes, it's very strange.
At this moment, they discovered that there were many people here, all of them soldiers.
It's American Special Forces, they work for Keira.
On the other side are the Turkish soldiers, it seems they have allied with each other.
With that level of realm, nothing can surpass it. That's right, there's no way we can enter it directly. But that doesn't mean there's no way in. Jaeha couldn't help but ask when he heard Juhian say that. What?
I said it before, I'm not a tomb raider, I'm a grave robber.
Seo Juhian seems to be very proud of his title.
Watch and learn, I'll show you how to act like a real grave robber.
They then chose the toilet as the place to carry out their plan. Why do we always have to go to the toilet when we are about to do something? It stinks.
Juhian knew that, but he was at his wit's end.
Well, it always happens, I don't like it either.
Normally, the artificial aura of the holy relic surrounds the crypt, protecting it from others.
It always has one weak point, and it's right here. We'll make a hole to enter. As soon as Seo Juhian took out the holy relic, Jaeha immediately realized. Wait, that's the holy relic. What's this again? Is there a holy relic with C4 explosives? Seo Juhian continued to explain that this was not just an ordinary tomb.
It's one of the holy relics I got from the super sweet potato brother Medusa, rank D, it makes it easy for the user to fart.
Hearing Seo Juhian say that, he understood what this thing was. Jaeha immediately got angry and said. What? That useless thing. But Juhian didn't think so.
It was quite useful in this case because it was useless.
Basic skills of a tomb robber. Explore the tomb. If I use this skill, I can create a hole in the tomb.
I can penetrate a tomb wall without tearing it apart. Since I'm lacking in power right now, I'll destroy a holy relic to increase the effect. The system immediately informs that exploring the tomb activates, enhancing spatial awareness and understanding of the tomb's structural characteristics. Digging a hole or destroying any area related to the tomb will increase power by 20%. Seo Juhian specifically told the other two to cover their ears.
Immediately after, he quickly used the holy relic to create a hole in the crypt. Come on, explode, I'll use some of your energy.
As Juhian squeezed the holy relic tightly, it kept screaming in pain.
Stop. What are you doing? It hurts. Stop. Immediately after, the holy relic couldn't take it anymore and exploded. The loud explosion attracted the attention of the soldiers here. The scene before their eyes left Jaeha and Irene shocked. The holy relic exploded.
Seo Juhian tried to reassure them that it wouldn't harm anything unrelated to the tomb, but Jaeha noticed that it had created a hole.
Seo Juhian led them through that hole. Is this hole okay? It leads us straight into the crypt. Hurry!
As soon as he went downstairs, Jaeha couldn't help but feel worried when he realized, I heard the soldiers above, it seemed like they had discovered me.
It's okay, there's a place to hide in here. No matter what Juhian said, it wouldn't stop Jaeha from doubting his actions this time, but this was a dead end. Looks like we need to explode another holy relic.
Juhian said as he took out the next holy relic from his breast pocket. Just like that, another explosion rang out. The soldiers above also determined their position at the same time. The sound came from over there.
Hurry!
Juhian and the other three were slowly going deeper into the crypt.
We're really inside. I told you, have some faith. Seo Juhian glanced at Jaeha and said. Wait a minute, I need to gather some information about this tomb. Jaeha and Irene heard that and quickly followed Juhian, leaving me behind.
Seo Juhian carefully used the torch to shine light on the lines of characters carved on the tomb. It wasn't hard for him to figure out what these symbols meant.
It was quite interesting. Did you find something? Irene asked curiously.
According to what was engraved here, Juhian could understand that. First, the holy relic of this tomb was the hand of Midas. Therefore, the holy relic in her body was a bit confusing.
Jaeha immediately dismissed Juhian's words.
Midas, the story of someone who turns everything she touches into gold.
That's ridiculous.
She's just had bad luck all around her. As soon as he finished speaking, he immediately received a sidelong glance from Seo Juhian. But in the story, that golden hand turned into an unfortunate hand at the last minute.
Remember the last detail.
According to Greek mythology, Dionysus, the Greek god of wine, granted King Midas one wish in thanks for protecting his student.
Midas wished that he could turn anything into gold with just a touch.
Although the god thought it was foolish, he kept his promise.
However, Midas' happiness did not last long.
Whatever he touched, that is, ate two waters, everything turned into gold.
He gradually starved to death. Poor Midas begged Dionysus to take back his wish.
He thought that if he washed himself in the Pactolus River, he would be able to wash away his wish. This information made Ju Hyun realize one thing, that's right, Pactolus River, if there's something like that here, then there must be a way to separate the holy relic from her. And I'll take control of that holy relic.
So he happily turned to tell Irene, I figured it out, really?
At first, but Ju Hyun had only just said 2 words when a sudden gunshot rang out. No one else, those soldiers have found them, damn it, the soldiers are coming, run. Just like that, a continuous rain of bullets aimed at them, over there, shoot.
Jaeha ran while wondering why they were shooting in the tomb. Ju Hyun could only explain this simply, maybe because the tomb was already damaged? Irene, are you okay? Seo Ju Hyun asked her worriedly.
I'm fine, Irene replied from behind, panting. She's out of breath, I can't drag this out much longer.
So he decided to stop. Ju Hyun's action made Jaeha feel very confused. Why did he stop?
Ju Hyun wanted to stay and deal with those soldiers, buying time for the two of them to escape from here. You two go ahead. I'll chase after this bunch.
I'm not the type to run away.
General Keira turned around, her face angry as she spoke loudly.
What? There's a request for support from the crypt in Turkey.
The other girl replied with a worried and scared face. We can't contact the person there, although the content of the message seems quite complicated. The woman with a serious face firmly told the other person.
Report it.
They found some suspicious people entering the crypt, 2 men and a woman.
I don't think they were fully armed. The girl recounted the incident at the scene.
General Keira became more and more agitated. She shouted with great anger, as if her emotions had exploded upon hearing this information.
Why did you let them in when they were unarmed? They brought the holy relic.
The girl was afraid to utter each word.
Please forgive me. Suddenly Keira stopped and wondered.
Wait, 2 men with the holy relic.
It seemed like she had recognized the intruder in the crypt.
Her emotions were uncontrollable. She gritted her teeth in anger as she spoke each word.
It was that bastard. Back to Seo Ju Hyun. He was doing very well in his exploration.
He looked very pleased with himself.
Not only that, he was also acting as a leader, clearing the way for his teammates. This way. Idiots.
Yu Jaeha behind him looked worried as if he knew that danger was coming to them and shouted a warning to Seo Ju Hyun.
Stop it. Even if your sword is holy or not.
It is no match for a gun. The guards of the crypt saw an intruder and were alerted and charged at the intruder. They all raised their guns and shouted loudly.
Fire. However, the speed of the bullets could not catch up with Seo Ju Hyun.
He shot forward like a rocket, leaving the others unable to react.
They were confused. He ran. Chased. Seo Ju Hyun had a sinister smile.
It seemed like he still had no fear. A thought flashed through his mind.
From now on, I will attract their attention by using the holy relic.
I will increase my speed by using the power of the Flower Knight sword.
They will fall into the trap and follow you. Into the trap room. Just as Seo Ju Hyun planned.
The soldiers guarding the basement are running after him into the place where he set the trap.
For the guards, Seo Ju Hyun had no way to escape. They shouted at him. Dead end. Surrender. You are surrounded. But for Seo Ju Hyun, this was just the beginning of his battle.
The soldier stepped forward and said, quickly throw your weapon away and raise your hand. It seemed like he had stepped on the brick that Seo Ju Hyun had arranged. It was the exact trap he had set to lure the soldiers in. Immediately a yellow light flashed along with the scream of the soldier from earlier.
Ah!
The blinding light spread all around, no one could face it and immediately covered their eyes. No way, he turned into a golden statue. While the soldier wasn't paying attention, Seo Ju Hyun took the opportunity to grab his sword and charge straight at him. Resolutely, he seemed satisfied with his plan and proudly swung his sword towards the soldier. In just a moment the soldier was caught off guard and lost his balance, our gun. In a flash, Seo Ju Hyun had defeated all the soldiers with only his single sword. He said smugly after his victory in a sarcastic tone, poor flies. Irene exclaimed happily at his victory, Ju Hyun. Seo Ju Hyun did not rest on his laurels. He quickly moved on to his next plan and calmly walked out. Let's go, I found a path to the Pactolus River. Jeha said anxiously, and the soldiers? He replied in a decisive tone, I took them down, isn't it obvious? Jeha looked at Seo Juhian's current appearance and was terrified. This guy is so scary. At this time, they went to another place together. The scenery here was so magical that they exclaimed. Wow! Jeha was curious about the scene before him. There was such a large lake underground. Seo Juhian looked at the terrain and felt pleased. It seemed like it would make it easier for him to carry out his upcoming plan. Very good, just like what the ancient tomb text said. Having said that, he turned to Irene and told her. Go take a bath there. Irene was extremely surprised by Seo Juhian's words. Huh? Take a bath there? Seeing her hesitation, Seo Juhian convinced her with his knowledge. King Midas threw away his golden hand power by bathing in this lake. I hope we can deal with the holy relic that is parasitic in your body. As he spoke, he put his hand under the cool water of the lake. As if to convince Irene, he reached down to test it and then turned to her and said. There's no trap. Hurry up, we'll be over there while you shower. After being convinced by Seo Juhian's words, Irene finally felt a little relieved. She slowly replied to him. Ah, okay. Then, Irene took off her clothes and let herself fall into the cold tears and enjoyed it. In the crevice of the rock, Seo Juhian peeked at where Irene was bathing. Seeing this, Jeha felt uneasy and said to him. Is it okay to peek at her, don't you have any conscience? But Seo Juhian defended himself by saying, I did it just in case something happened. Remembering what Seo Juhian said to Irene earlier, the boy immediately argued back. He said there was no trap. Seo Juhian heard that and calmly replied. Unfortunately, the holy relic separated from her and attacked her. We should not be careless when facing the holy relic. In the face of Seo Juhian's reasoning, Jeha had no more words to refute. Irene put her hand down into the lake to feel its cold tears. While taking a bath, she thought about Seo Juhian's words about King Midas and wondered to herself, would it work? Suddenly her eyes lit up at something, seemingly surprised. A voice echoed from somewhere in the space, welcoming my friend. Seeing that something bad was about to happen, Seo Juhian quickly ran towards Irene who was taking a shower, damn it. The system panel immediately appeared, the holy relic sleeping deep in the lake had awakened. The holy relic's golden hand emitted a murderous aura. Warning, a sudden drop in luck could be dangerous. Without the system's reminders, Seo Juhian already knew that danger was coming. He didn't care about it anymore and just quickly ran to save Irene before it was too late. I understand, stop it, Irene. He stood on the shore and shouted loudly at Irene, get away from there. Unfortunately Irene seemed to be held back, she replied to him in panic. I can't move. Suddenly, Irene's hand gradually turned yellow, as if she was about to freeze like a stone statue. She couldn't help but be surprised at the change in her body. Irene started to speak out in fear, my body started to turn into gold. Seo Juhian's mind at this moment seemed to be thinking of nothing else, he seemed helpless before the situation before his eyes. Damn it! Without further hesitation, he immediately jumped into the lake to rescue Irene. Under the deep blue water, Seo Juhian tried to find a way to save Irene. What should I do? Think quickly. This is not a trap. The message says that the holy relic has awakened. Irene seems to be in great pain as her body turns into gold faster and faster. She is afraid that she will never be able to return to normal again. Seo Juhian is getting closer to Irene. But isn't this tomb's holy relic parasitizing Irene? Could there be another holy relic? That was very possible as the tomb did not disappear and the trap worked normally, there was clearly a holy relic here. Irene's body was about to turn completely into gold. Fortunately, Seo Juhian arrived at her in time. Could it be possible to turn her back to normal? To Irene's panic, Seo Juhian immediately reassured her. Don't worry, I'm here. The voice from the water shouted angrily. Who are you? Don't stand in our way. I will reclaim my brother. Oh no, Irene's body is turning into a ring. She is scared and calls for help from Seo Juhian. Mr. Juhian. Seo Juhian's body was also turning into gold like Irene. Seeing that, she told him. Stop, or you will turn into gold too. At this point, Seo Juhian didn't know what to do anymore. Damn it, this is why I can't move my legs. The vicious water laughed triumphantly and threatened him. Ha ha ha, just as she said. If you want to live, take your hands off her and come to shore. I just need to kill her. Leaving her, feeling my brother residing inside her. Seo Juhian was in pain but he did not succumb to the cruelty of the holy relic on the water. She kept persuading Seo Juhian. I will spare you because today I am reunited with my brother.
Seeing Seo Ju-hyun holding onto her despite the danger, Irene was extremely grateful and said, "Brother Ju-hyun." Suddenly something popped into his head. I see. I always find it weird that this damn holy relic mentions some brother. Thinking back, it makes sense. He uses his knowledge to explain this phenomenon to find a way to save Irene from the danger of turning into gold. The holy relic of King Midas is split into two pieces. The golden hand and the hand of failure. Of the two, she had the hand of failure. Irene couldn't believe her ears when she heard Seo Ju-hyun say that. Impossible. Seo Ju-hyun continued. The golden hand is trying to take back her failed hand. We must fight against it. We must subdue the golden hand by defeating it. Seo Ju-hyun's rage overwhelmed the ferocity of the water. He exclaimed. Using her dominance ability was like what I practiced. Not social ability but dominance. I will help you. We will win easily if we combine our powers to dominate. Seeing that Seo Ju-hyun had found a way to defeat him, the water became even angrier. Damn it! Jae-ha sat on the shore and shouted in fear. Captain! The water cried out in pain. How dare you hurt me? Stop it! Irene's screams grew louder and drowned out the roar of the water. She was fighting for her life. She no longer had the weakness she had shown earlier. Irene was stronger and fought back fiercely. No. You must be the one to stop resisting. Submit to me. The holy relic. Seo Ju-hyun was pleased and extremely satisfied that Irene had realized and was fighting for herself. He said proudly. Great. That's it. I have taught a good student. The match is still going strong. Submit to me. Irene turned around in surprise. Huh? The gold flakes on her body were slowly dissolving. My body was returning to normal. We did it. She was happy with her efforts. She looked at her body and said. The tattoo changed too. Seo Ju-hyun explained. Because the contract was complete. Irene was still stunned. Then, Seo Ju-hyun continued. She didn't need to worry anymore. The power of the golden hand would balance the power of the failing hand. Hearing Seo Ju-hyun's words, she replied happily. It would be easier to control the failing hand. It wouldn't go crazy anymore. Without waiting any longer. Overwhelmed with happiness, Irene hugged Seo Ju-hyun as a thank you. Thank you very much. It was all thanks to Ju-hyun. Jae-ha on the shore finally breathed a sigh of relief. Calm down first. The water is going into my nose. Move to another scene. What do you mean you can't find them? The soldier reported to his general Keira. All the soldiers went into the tomb and there was no response. Could they all be dead? The female leader was extremely angry when she heard that. She immediately shouted at the soldier's face. How dare you say that to me? The soldier was scared. I'm sorry. Once again, Keira assumed it was the Tomb Raiders' doing. It was them. I was sure of it. In the face of dire circumstances, the soldier was trying to find a way to help when General Keira said, "Don't send any more help." The soldier was puzzled. What? But. She continued. I will use the holy relic and burn them to ashes. As she spoke, her eyes showed hatred. The soldier looked surprised. Is that okay? The holy relic will be completely destroyed if the general does that. The government in Turkey will complain about this. But all words were rejected. Anger now filled the leader's soul. She growled. I don't care. Recalling the brutal destruction of the past. The biggest reason Keira is called a warlord is because she possesses the holy relic Sekhmet. In Egyptian mythology, Sekhmet is the goddess of destruction sent to punish humanity. Perhaps because it is on the level of God, it can destroy targets no matter how far away they are. So she actively collects the holy relic map. Let her launch a devastating blow when she determines the enemy's location. Dust and smoke flew everywhere, the air became hazy. Jae-ha tried to cover his nose with his hand and said, Am I dead? In the dust, Ju-hyun replied to the boy's mindless words. No, he was still alive. They were taking shelter in a basement, which was quite cramped. Jae-ha looked around curiously and said, What is this? A holy relic? A voice echoed. It's so heavy, what did you do to me? Ju-hyun calmly replied to the echo. This was the Hammurabi cipher, but it wasn't normally used this way. Jae-ha breathed a sigh of relief, smiled and said, Phew, we escaped death thanks to that. Irene still seemed to be on guard. But if we stay here, we'll be buried alive. Ujeha looked around and found that there was only one hole in the cliff. It was slowly filling up. She was right, let me out of here. Juhyun saw that everyone was worried and spoke up. I won't let that happen, don't worry. Remember when we got in here by creating a new entrance? I'll do it again. Juhyun tries to calm everyone down to find a solution. Ujeha looked worried and seemed a little angry as he turned back. He blew up a bunch of low-level holy relics to get us in here. He planned to blow up the remaining holy relics. Seeing this, Juhyun said, "Isn't it more important that we get out of here? I can always collect new holy relics." Ujeha said in surprise. Really? Maybe he was worried that Juhyun would lose all of his holy relics, so he was angry with Juhyun. Having said that, the young man spoke. But before that, I wanted to try something. A few days ago I got a skill called Tomb Restoration. Juhyun recalled, if someone gets the holy relic the crypt will collapse. I don't know where to use this crypt restoration skill. At that time, I didn't know when to use it. In a situation where we are stuck in a collapsing tomb, this skill will be useful. Let's see, the system announced. Tomb Restoration, if your dexterity skill is above D rank, you can restore the area inside the holy relic. If your skill is above C rank, you can restore the path inside the tomb with a radius of 2m. Seo Juhyun seems to be studying hard, restoring the Rodha, great, that's useful. He placed his powerful hand on the ground. As he did so, he shouted, restoring the crypt. The other two seemed to be amazed by his actions. They were watching Seo Juhyun's every move. The pieces of rock and soil gradually flew into the air, the debris moving on its own. Wherever he went, Seo Juhyun used his power to clear a path. They could all easily move out of this place. We can escape from here by repeating that skill over and over again. We can escape from here. Seo Juhyun turned back to Jaeha and said, "It's written in our contract. I have the responsibility to ensure your safety." Jaeha seemed to get angry and replied, "There are times when you can't keep your promises." Seeing Jaeha say that, Seo Juhyun replied, "You don't have any trust in me." Irene wondered blankly. What kind of contract is this? Seo Juhyun kept clearing the way to find a way out as he explained to Jaeha, "Trust me, I can't let my slave die in front of me again." Both Irene and Jaeha exclaimed in surprise. What did he mean again? Outside, the soldiers were still trying to find traces of Seo Juhyun's group. One said, "Found anything?" The other replied, "No, I didn't see anything." At the headquarters, the crypt guards were restless as they still had no trace of Seo Juhyun. Still no news, it had been 3 hours since the crypt collapsed. The headquarters is getting more and more chaotic, they are using the holy relic to search, they can detect the power of the holy relic. A soldier spoke up. We used it but there was no response. The dark-skinned man said, "This is troublesome, how should I report this to the general?" Another soldier ran in and reported urgently. According to the news we just received, there is a new path appearing in the crypt. The tall man from earlier suddenly exclaimed. What? Without waiting any longer the man quickly went to the crypt. The soldier added. That path led straight to the nearby village. Arriving at the gate, the man was questioned by the guard. What do you want? The tall man replied. I have urgent matters to report to the general. But the guard objected. No, the general is busy now. The tall man could not keep his composure and said, What? This is urgent. I need to inform the general as soon as possible. At all costs the guard would not let the man see the general and said. Tell me and I will pass it on. There was no other way. The man could only agree to the request. All right. This bald man looks very upset. Hello, is anyone there? Are you trying to video call me? On the other side was a crying baby. Baby? Where were the parents? Who was on the video call? Hearing the call, the guard ran in and answered. This child is General Keira. The person on the other end of the line said in surprise. What? The guard continued to explain. This was the risk of using the holy relic Sekhmet. Normally he would not know about this top secret. The man on the other side laughed loudly. Ha ha ha. Shapeshifting is a side effect. Legend has it that the goddess Sekhmet had another form that was considered the goddess of love. Hathor. The bald man seemed convinced to continue. If that was true, then she had used too much of the holy relic's power. Had she defeated them? The soldier replied to the child. I was about to report that. We lost them. Hearing the bad news. A child's instinct is to cry. How terrible. The bald man was confused because he couldn't understand what the child was trying to say. Calm down. I don't understand what you're saying. The guard spoke on behalf of the general. She asked about the progress with Pandora. The bald man said in surprise. How do you understand? Then he continued. His face was full of mystery. I have news for you. Pandora's inauguration ceremony with the International Catacombs Control Board took place today. From now on, the catacombs and the Holy Relic will be under Pandora's management. It is forbidden for all humans to make a pact with the crypt or possess the Holy Relic. The Holy Relic is Pandora's box that will bring us destruction. Anyone who breaks the law will be considered an act of terrorism and will be punished accordingly. Pandora will protect humanity from the Holy Relic. The sentence ended the announcement at the crypt's opening ceremony. Elsewhere, the flight had just taken off. A voice said. We were taking the Hilton family's private jet back to New York. Even though Irene was supposed to take us to where the elixir was being grown. She invited us home because her parents wanted to see us. It seems she told her family that she was freed from bad luck. The Hilton family was overjoyed and wanted to meet the person who helped Irene. Of course, I took the opportunity. I was wondering how to get the Hilton family to join me. Seo Ju-hyun was very excited about this trip. Continuing Seo Ju-hyun's line of emotions. Because I played a big trick on Keira, I need someone to back me up. This makes things easier. Seo Ju-hyun seemed to be looking forward to having more allies. But at John Kennedy International Airport, seeing Seo Ju-hyun engrossed in something, Yoo Jae-ha grumbled. Ready to go, Seo Ju-hyun remained silent. Then Seo Ju-hyun also opened his mouth and said, I felt the Holy Relic was very strong at the airport. Hearing that, Yoo Jae-ha couldn't help but be shocked and stunned, he exclaimed. What? Seo Ju-hyun gritted his teeth and continued, it seems like some troublesome bastards have appeared here. Elsewhere, Pandora's people were at the airport. Seeing that everyone seemed scared, they tried to calm them down. Please calm down, we are from Pandora. This is just to ensure everyone's safety. The surroundings became noisier than ever. Pandora's soldiers continued to speak. All owners of the Holy Relic, please step forward. From now on, Pandora will manage the Holy Relic. Everyone seemed angry and annoyed when they heard the request. A man spoke up. Nonsense, the others also made a fuss and expressed their dissatisfaction. What, not allowing us? While everyone was talking, a soldier spoke up. I received a signal from the Holy Relic detector, 1 o'clock direction, tall figure, arrest him. It was the man from earlier. He was possessing the Holy Relic. Seeing that he was discovered, he immediately turned around and ran away. While running he shouted back. Don't make me laugh, this is the Holy Relic. Pandora's soldiers immediately chased after the man. A soldier left behind shouted, thieves in uniform. I repeat, all those who possess the Holy Relic, please step forward. The passengers in the airport were still chattering. A man spoke up, very good, the first mission went quite smoothly. Punish those who oppose to set an example. With that the soldier obeyed, yes, sir, Colonel. The soldier stepped forward and announced, Colonel, we have discovered a very powerful Holy Relic recently. We heard this Holy Relic is related to wealth. The Colonel exclaimed in surprise, the Holy Relic is rich? Having said that, the Colonel ordered the soldier, very good, lead the way, understood. On this side, Seo Ju-hyun was still very calm in the face of the chaos outside the airport. He told Irene and Yoo Jae-ha, there was no need to be so scared. Seeing that Seo Ju-hyun was not afraid at all, Yoo Jae-ha said. What are you not afraid of? We are surrounded by enemies at the airport. Seo Ju-hyun kept his previous attitude and replied, it's okay. Oh, that reminds me, Irene, you were still on guard, and when you heard your name called, you were startled. Seo Ju-hyun turned to her and said, we finished the Holy Relic Midas, should we try them here too? Hearing Seo Ju-hyun say that, Irene hesitantly replied. But I've never tried using it before. Seeing that, Seo Ju-hyun immediately persuaded her again. It was easy, just like when she ordered the Holy Relic. If anything happens, I'll help. Seo Ju-hyun seemed very confident in his abilities. Suddenly a voice came from behind, stop. In a moment they were surrounded by Pandora's men. They pointed their guns at Seo Ju-hyun and the other two and ordered them not to move. The colonel quickly led his soldiers to Seo Ju-hyun, who was in possession of the Holy Relic, which was said to be very powerful. He spoke to them. We are from Pandora, the organization that controls the Holy Relic. We know very well that you guys possess the Holy Relic. Seo Ju-hyun then changed his expression, Pandora. They made up a reason to protect humanity from the Holy Relic. But the truth is that they want exclusive possession of the Holy Relic. Because you guys, this world is too unfair.
But, in my memory, Pandora was founded the year after the distinction about the holy relic was somewhat evident, at least 3 years from this point. The future has changed again, so Ju-hyun read his inner dialogue. While Seo Ju-hyun was analyzing in his mind, Pandora's colonel spoke up and threatened them. It seems you guys are all afraid of death, don't worry. If you obediently hand over the holy relic, we'll let you all go. Instead of following the colonel's offer, Seo Ju-hyun responded fearlessly. Go away, the colonel exclaimed as if his pride had exploded. What? Seo Ju-hyun said with a disdainful look, what right do you have to demand that I hand over the holy relic? Go away if you don't want to die. The big guy still stood firmly and confronted Seo Ju-hyun. What? Go away if you don't want to die. He laughed loudly and continued, ha ha ha, you think this is a joke? He gradually became angrier as he heard Seo Ju-hyun's words. He gritted his teeth. I'll shoot you in the head to wake you up, right? Without a trace of fear, Seo Ju-hyun even challenged them. Glancing at Irene, he said, give it a try, you idiots. He said and then signaled to Irene. It was now. As if she understood Seo Ju-hyun's meaning, she nodded as if she had received the signal. Seeing that Seo Ju-hyun still didn't make any move, the boss got even angrier and shouted loudly. Idiots, this is my final warning. Shoot. Before he could act, smoke and dust covered everything. The boss couldn't believe his eyes and was confused. What was happening? A soldier spoke up. The gun suddenly went off, and the colonel was stunned. What the hell was this? On this side, Seo Ju-hyun was extremely happy about the situation just now. After completing the mission, Irene turned to Seo Ju-hyun and asked, did I do it right? He immediately told her. See? You succeeded. He said and reached out and took Irene's hand. It was good for the first time. Try making it stronger this time, I'll help you if the holy relic gets out of control. Irene didn't think twice and immediately agreed. Yes. After a while, the colonel appeared again. Bastard, you seem to be smart. Let's see if you can handle it this time. As soon as he finished speaking, other soldiers gradually appeared. This time they switched to different weapons and tactics. One of them shouted. Everyone, switch to close combat. Prepare the holy relic. We can use the holy relic to control the target. They all have different weapons in their hands, but the common point is that they all use the power of the holy relic. Seo Ju-hyun and Irene's hands clasped together even tighter. From that connection, a golden light appeared that resembled power. Seo Ju-hyun wanted to let it go, but it seemed like those guys didn't know what was going on. You say, you dared to confront me? System notification. The 1 kilometer radius is under the control of the failed hand. Killing intent consumes the enemy's holy relic. Seo Ju-hyun looked at the system board and said. It seems everything is as expected. Suddenly, the weapons in the hands of the Pandora soldiers all disappeared. One of them cried out in horror. The holy relic is broken. The blood in their mouths also suddenly spurted out. They seemed to be in great pain as they spoke. My body suddenly. Run away. Seeing that all the soldiers had run away, the colonel said angrily. Where are you all going? Come back. You cowards. Seo Ju-hyun approached the colonel and grabbed his collar. Pass my words to Pandora. Instead of creating useless laws, use that time for something more useful. If you can come back, please pass on the message. The colonel was extremely angry. He gritted his teeth when he heard the words coming from Seo Ju-hyun's mouth, but was helpless because he couldn't do anything. The whole building suddenly exploded. Not long after, the media began reporting on the incident. An explosion occurred at John Kennedy International Airport at 2:00 p.m. on March 1st. The number of casualties is still unknown. But because of the extensive damage, the airport will not be able to continue operating. Pandora will be held responsible for this loss. Sitting in the car, Seo Ju-hyun was extremely happy about the news he just heard. He laughed smugly. Ha, you guys deserve it. Seo Ju-hyun turned to Irene and said. Because they made a fuss at the airport, they will be suspicious now after the disappearances of the holy relic. He happily praised Irene. Thanks to you, Irene. We took them down easily. Irene replied shyly. Nothing, but. Seo Ju-hyun interrupted and said. Do you feel sick or something wrong with your body? Irene asked back in surprise. What, not at all. Seo Ju-hyun started to feel something was wrong. Strange. She used a large amount of power but there was no way it wouldn't have side effects. The side effects are something that the user of the holy relic must endure. In exchange for the power they borrow, the holy relic tortures the user every time they borrow the power.
Irene used a large amount of energy while at the airport. Irene's holy relic will definitely come at a price. The problem is I don't understand what that price is. Seo Ju-hyun was still lost in his thoughts. Suddenly Irene's body glowed as if it was about to explode. She hugged her body in fear. I didn't see Irene like that. Seo Ju-hyun exclaimed in surprise and fear. Irene! Irene was terrified. She said breathlessly. I can't breathe. The side effects finally hit Irene. This was something that even Seo Ju-hyun didn't expect to be this serious. Damn it, it's starting. The black car sped down the road. There was a loud cough inside. The driver shouted in panic. Are you okay, miss? Jae-ha, who was sitting in the passenger seat, also turned around quickly. What happened? In the back seat, Irene bowed her head and clutched her chest. She seemed to be in terrible pain. Her voice was broken, I couldn't breathe. Ju-hyun frowned in thought, it seemed like the aftereffects had already begun. This was to be expected since she had used too much power. Seo Ju-hyun looked at Irene's beautiful face, sweat was continuously flowing down. This is causing pain to the body, damn it, this is so troublesome. Seeing Irene starting to panic, Ju-hyun gently placed his hand on her shoulder. His voice carried comfort, calming Irene. I will try to restrain it with my dominating ability, he continued. But before he could do anything, the girl's body collapsed, seemingly losing consciousness. Ju-hyun called out, Irene, wake up, Irene. The call was useless, Ju-hyun cursed in a low voice. Jae-ha also turned around, worry evident on her face. Why did she suddenly become like this? What happened next was even more bizarre. The girl who had fainted earlier suddenly sat up. Ju-hyun cautiously called her name, hey Irene. The girl heard and turned to look at him with a bewildered expression. Seeing Irene approaching him, Ju-hyun reached out to stop her. Wait a minute Irene, I'm sorry to say this but you look like you've lost your mind, are you okay? But she remained silent and did not respond, which made him even more worried. Suddenly Jae-ha turned around, the team leader. In the back seat, Irene wrapped her arms tightly around Ju-hyun's neck. This unexpected action left him a bit at a loss for what to do. The sound of her breathing close to his neck made him uncomfortable and avoid her. Was she smelling him? Jae-ha's voice rang out, are you okay? Ju-hyun replied, it seemed like she was fine. Irene's eyes were closed at this moment, her breathing was even, making him conclude that she had fallen asleep so quickly. The system screen appears. After using the Holy Relic Midas, the user will manifest deep involvement, they will feel a strong urge and do everything they want for that desire. Ju-hyun finished reading and immediately spoke up, if you knew, then tell me sooner. The system appeared again, this time she craved your body scent. As soon as she finished speaking, Irene, who was sleeping, suddenly sat up, drooling from the corner of her mouth. Irene's cheeks suddenly turned unusually red. Immediately after, a scream with a high pitch that pierced the eardrums rang out without stopping. Irene seemed to have regained consciousness, she sullenly covered her face and did not dare to look up. Sorry, I don't know why I did that. Ju-hyun quickly replied, it's okay. He patiently explained, the Holy Relic made her do that, it was the price to pay for using the Holy Relic's power. Irene turned to look at him uneasily, I shouldn't use it carelessly, but... Suddenly Ju-hyun blurted out, do you like the smell of men's sweat? The question made Irene stunned. Then the guy continued talking, walked away, I asked him politely, and I don't smell like sweat, I don't know what smell she likes. At the Hilton mansion. Jae-ha's worried voice rang out, team leader. I don't feel very well, can I stay in the car? Ju-hyun asked in confusion, what do you mean by that? Jae-ha replied, I shouldn't meet George Hilton if he catches me then. Irene comforted him, don't worry, my brother isn't home right now, I know that's why I came with you. Sweat was pouring down Jae-ha's forehead, he was still a bit scared, I felt like I was in danger, now I also have that sixth sense. Ju-hyun interrupted him, stop talking nonsense and go, we will visit the Hilton family often so don't hide. If we get caught, just beg for forgiveness, you will pay for your actions. Hearing that, Jae-ha became even more uneasy, I will die before I can beg, you liar. Finally the car stopped, 3 people got out one by one. Irene spoke up, please go this way, thank you. She seemed very excited, a happy smile on her lips. It had been a long time since I had been home, I was afraid that bad luck would affect my family so I had always stayed in hotels. Now I don't have to do that anymore, it feels like a dream, thank you, Ju-hyun. Ju-hyun replied, don't mention it, you also helped me with the auction, it's nothing. Suddenly their eyes turned to the cars over there, what's that, a blue Ferrari? Irene's uncertain voice rang out, it was my brother's car. As soon as she finished speaking, Jae-ha was in a panic. Immediately after, the pitch-black gun was placed right next to Jae-ha's temple, leaving him no time to react. George was so angry. You are the one who sold me fake paintings, Jeha called out tremblingly, big brother. The shout rang out again, who is your boss? Irene asked curiously, are you home? George replied to his sister, I had something urgent to do so I came back, long time no see, Irene. Seeing her attitude soften a bit, Jeha pretended to beg, I was wrong, please forgive me. This made George's anger flare up again, shut up, if you want to beg for mercy, why not ask for it earlier? This time, I will kill you myself so I won't have to play dead. Jeha looked at Ju Hyun worriedly, say something for me, I'm going to die. Ju Hyun ignored his pretense and coldly replied, pay for your actions. Jeha immediately cursed after hearing that, you mean guy. Ju Hyun suddenly continued, but this guy's life is worth it. We helped your sister remove the curse, he helped too, so can you let it go? Let's call it even. Jeha saw him finally open his mouth and emotionally called out, team leader. George spoke up, that reminds me, Irene told me about you, you helped her break the curse. Ju Hyun nodded, yes, so today. Not letting him finish, he interrupted, so what, instead of separating the holy relic from the girl's body? And then making it completely parasitic in there, how can that be called breaking the curse? He raised the gun in his hand, another scammer, it's obvious, you two are on the same side. The situation became extremely tense, but Ju Hyun calmly replied, he knew nothing about the holy relic and could only scream. Ju Hyun's expression gradually became impatient, the holy relic had been parasitizing her from the beginning, we helped her control it. The holy relic in her body can never be removed, George shouted again, how can you be so sure? How can you guarantee that? Does Irene have to live like this for the rest of her life? His rude voice kept ringing, just you wait, we'll find an expert to remove the holy relic from him. Ju Hyun frowned and cursed under his breath, this bastard. He thought, he doesn't listen to me, he hates the holy relic too much, huh? The Hilton family is Catholic, and I heard they have negative thoughts about the holy relic. He wondered, but to this extent? Suddenly Irene spoke up, don't say that, you make me sad. She continued, even though the holy relic became one with me, I'm still me, nothing has changed. Don't talk like that to Ju Hyun, he's my benefactor. Hearing that, George frowned in annoyance. In the end he had to compromise, I was going too far, but the holy relic is dangerous, Irene. He looked at his sister worriedly, she would die because of it. Ju Hyun heard that and immediately showed a puzzled expression. He raised his voice, what happened? George replied, you don't need to know. He said that and immediately confirmed Ju Hyun's thoughts, 100% sure, so something happened. Ju Hyun spoke up, what's going on here? Irene looked up at him worriedly. George gritted his teeth and did not answer, seeming to be trying to hold back something. Finally he said, I told you, you are not welcome here, understand? You should be glad you don't have a hole in your head. Ju Hyun replied disdainfully, I don't have time to talk to you. He continued, could you take me to meet Irene's parents, I was invited here for dinner? Hearing that, George's emotions exploded. Don't mention it. That appointment was cancelled. My parents don't want to see you right now. Ju Hyun frowned in disbelief, huh? Suddenly he rushed forward and punched George straight in the face, making him unable to dodge. Finally his patience reached its limit. Are you kidding me? Then he turned to remind Irene, don't let your brother catch up with me. Ju Hyun ran away at breakneck speed, I had to go check on her parents. His voice echoed back, something unusual, this action surprised Irene for a few seconds. Ju Hyun's voice rang out loudly, Mr. Hilton, are you there? Inside the villa, the voice was even louder, Mrs. Hilton. George angrily chased after him, you dog, where are you going? Irene worriedly stopped him, big brother. Ju Hyun continued to search the mansion, the smell of rotting flesh and this feeling, that was definitely it. He gritted his teeth, this thing was the thing that had caused his death before. Suddenly he stopped, staring at the scene before him. On the large bed, someone was half lying and half sitting. But that person doesn't seem normal anymore. As soon as Irene caught up, the sight scared her to death. Father, what happened? George raised his hand to stop Ju Hyun, are you satisfied? My parents don't have time to deal with you. Jeha was stunned as if he couldn't believe his eyes, was it really Mr. Hilton? No, it couldn't be. Mr. Hilton's body turned purple. Ju Hyun asked, when did this symptom start? George replied, I don't know when, I was busy with all sorts of things. It's been a while, and it's for this reason that I've been isolated from the holy relics. Jeha asked, what's wrong with him, is he sick? George said, I don't know exactly, I just called my family's private doctors to diagnose. What, do you know about this disease? Ju Hyun thought to himself, no need to diagnose anymore, this is the holy relic syndrome. His face was pensive, I knew it too well, I understood everything about it better than anyone, I had also suffered from this disease.
Anyone who has been exposed to the holy relic for a long time can get sick, especially if the compatibility is low, so this condition can occur. It can cause hallucinations, self-harm, and a series of subsequent symptoms. Symptoms include acute bleeding, internal organ dysfunction, and blood poisoning. Ju Hyun explained, to put it simply, it was a disease that crushed a person from the inside out. There was no way to cure this disease. George couldn't believe his ears. How could it be? In the past, a third of humanity died from this disease, and as long as there are humans, any holy relic holding will suffer the same fate as them. While half dead, the only voracious eater benefited from the holy relic medical. I also had to work hard to get a pain pill. I can't stand it, the pain it causes is too terrible. But surely none of them knew the horror of that time. George said in despair, no way, is my father going to die like this? Just then, Ju Hyun's voice rang out, not quite. He heard and turned around. What? He continued, I have a medical holy relic. George shouted, do you think it's that easy? Facing his panic, Ju Hyun calmly replied, so do you think there's any other way? He continued, I know you hate the holy relics, but I only do good things, will you let me help? Irene interjected, it's okay bro, you can trust Ju Hyun. Finally he agreed, okay, let's try it. But Ju Hyun said, but not now. George jumped up in frustration, this brat wants to play with me? Jae-ha quickly stopped him, brother, be patient, who is your brother, you liar? Ju Hyun said, although there is the holy relic medical device, it is not yet complete. If used now, it will not prolong life for more than a week. By the way, there is something strange about it. And this is also the final stage of the holy relic syndrome. This disease is not a sudden disease that appears, but to this extent in a short period of time. Irene said worriedly, when her father called to invite you over, his voice must have been very healthy at that time, and if her father was sick like this, he wouldn't have bothered you to come here. Hearing that, he bowed his head and thought again, yes, not long after that, the holy relics started appearing. Even if it started from the time the holy relics appeared, it still couldn't be this bad. Or is someone intentionally making it worse? In my mind, there is no other reasonable explanation except that. It has been a long time since Hilton had mild symptoms of the early stage. Since then, he lived away from the holy relics for a while. Irene's bankrupt holy relic was still around, and I recently resolved that issue. I was invited to a meal as a thank you. It would make sense that the disease would have ended in its terminal stage during the days I was invited here. However, what if someone uses some tricks to speed up the progression of this disease? If so, based on this situation, then I can know a little. After thinking, Ju Hyun turned to George and asked, has anyone come here often lately? He replied, I don't know, but my parents always have a lot of guests. Do any of your guests use the holy relic? Probably not, because none of my guests use the holy relic. Ju Hyun continued, not sure, maybe they hid it when they came in. George wondered, why are you asking this? He quickly replied, because someone intentionally transmitted this disease to him. Someone increased the symptoms of the stages of the holy relic syndrome in Mr. Hilton? Perhaps that person used the power of the holy relic. George shouted in shock, who is it? Ju Hyun said, then I will leave the task of finding that person to you now. You turn around, I have to collect the rest of the holy relic medical. Irene interjected, I'll go with Ju Hyun too. The guy disagreed, Irene, you should stay with your father. The girl firmly said, don't you already have the holy relic, I also want to help you. George also did not accept, what are you thinking, Irene, it is very dangerous. But she was determined, it's okay, let me go. I can help like at the airport. Hearing that Ju Hyun said, okay, then let's go. Then he looked at George, don't worry, I won't let your sister be in danger. The car sped down the road. Ju Hyun spoke up in frustration, this is really, after such a stressful time, I want a rest. Jae-ha also said, I've been like this for 10 years. Irene heard that and said, I'm sorry. Ju Hyun replied, I was just joking, don't worry too much, your father will be fine. Jae-ha asked, so what do we do now? The guy replied, we're going to find a pair of the holy relics. Which pair? Ju Hyun curled his lips and went to find a pair of the holy relic called Shuu. The holy relic of Shuu, which is the key to awakening the true Qin Shi Huang. Shuu was a man from ancient China, said to be a Taoist priest. He was one of the people that Qin Shi Huang hired to seek immortality. He convinced the emperor to let him go to the place where the immortals live to learn the secret of immortality. Thousands of children, gold and silver treasures, even soldiers were on the way. But he went out to sea and never came back. Some say he went far away and found a land and became king. And no one knows whether he found it or not, no one is sure. Yu Jae-ha wondered, but why did he suddenly come to the subway? Seo Ju Hyun quickly replied, because there was someone I wanted to meet. The two of them walked and talked.
Yu Jaeha continued to ask, who is he planning to meet at this subway station? He replied, in general, someone very special. Two people were walking when they suddenly came across a homeless man lying in the middle of the street. Suddenly he smiled and glanced at that person as if he had discovered something. Seo Ju-hyun went to shake him awake. Hey, wake up. He quickly threw the homeless man in front of him to the ground. Yu Jaeha was startled when he saw this. What was wrong with him? Why did he hit a homeless man? After being knocked to the ground, he painfully tried to get up. He shouted angrily. What are you doing? Yu Jaeha was surprised when he saw his face. What? What? Edward Hargan? What's going on? Seo Ju-hyun looked at him and laughed. A person like him would like to be homeless? The old man was so angry that he was speechless. Edward Hargan reached out and grabbed him by the collar. You son of a bitch. It's your fault I'm in this situation. He calmly provoked him. What's wrong with you? I helped you find the British Prime Minister. He was still angry. What did you do then? Burned all the general's relics. Edward Hargan was getting more and more impatient as he spoke. She suddenly took her anger out on me. My assets and the holy relic were confiscated and I am still being pursued. It seems like it is all your fault. What should I do now? Seo Ju-hyun suggested. But show me where the holy relic is. I will give you a new life. And I will give you some benefits. The old man was surprised to hear that. Benefits? He continued to ask. Do you know where the holy relics of Shuu are kept? Edward Hargan suddenly turned away, pretending not to know. No, I don't know. You could tell by his reaction. You knew. I'm looking forward to that time. In the past, Kwon had retrieved the rest of the Shuu from his information. Seo Ju-hyun picked up the phone and threatened him. It seems like I smell something fishy. Do you want me to report a wanted person here? The old man was immediately alarmed. Don't do that. Edward Hargan quickly told him. Keira. It was Keira. I gave her to that damn woman. He continued asking. Keira? Why does Keira need the holy relic? He replied. You think I care? I only get paid. Seo Ju-hyun looked at him for a moment and thought. There was nothing that an intelligence expert didn't know. It really didn't make sense. He hesitated. Should I try again? Then he quickly grabbed the man by the collar. Listen, Edward. You negotiate. I used to call you my future partner. That's not just talk. If you help me, I will help you make more money than you did in America. The old man's eyes lit up when he heard about money. A lot of money. Is that so? He said calmly. Of course. I wonder what my abilities are like. He hesitated for a moment and then replied. Okay. Let's make a deal again. He explained. Shufu's holy relic seemed to have something interesting about it. It had become a very powerful support item for the holy relic medicine. Seo Ju-hyun heard that and said. I have the main ingredients. Now I just need that. Edward Hargan was also surprised. You have it. What a surprise. He negotiated. If I had the remaining holy relic, I could make more powerful medicines. And what if we used it to make money? He smiled at the old man convincingly. This is not a lie. I really will create a pharmaceutical company. Earn money by distributing drugs to treat the holy relic syndrome at low prices. This is to avoid the misunderstanding of pharmaceuticals. Intoxicating those with the syndrome. Avoiding the risks that happened in the previous life. This is the fastest and most profitable way to earn money. After negotiating, they boarded the plane together and left. The two bodyguards looked at the person in front of them and said. This is probably the first time we've met you. Seo Ju-hyun looked shyly at the bodyguards around him. Irene Hilton saw this and explained. I'm sorry about this. My brother must have sent bodyguards to protect me. Jaeha looked at him and asked. Is it okay to let them follow like that? It seems a bit uncomfortable. Seo Ju-hyun said frankly. I can't lead you guys into the dungeon with this many people. They heard that and replied. We understand. I have heard a lot about you. You are an experienced person in this matter. But we will still do our best to help you. Seo Ju-hyun spoke up. Okay. Thank you guys. After saying that, they quickly set off. Then let's go. Edward Hargan says the remains of the Shufu are in Ghana, Africa. And Keira seems to be doing something with it.
But this seems a bit strange.
It's obviously related to the dungeon. But she didn't mobilize any troops. It seems to be done in secret with some of her subordinates. Seo Ju-hyun asked him.
Why was it so difficult?
But he didn't seem to understand either. I don't know.
But there was something fishy about them. Seo Ju-hyun got excited when he heard that. It must be very interesting. They also quickly reached the outskirts of Accra, Ghana, Africa. Through the binoculars he saw what he was looking for.
Sure enough, it was here. Seo Ju-hyun looked forward and said. Keira's people.
Especially since she also uses the holy relic.
Yu Jae-ha heard that and asked. So what do we do? He turned to walk back to them.
They were probably just at the casino.
Should I bet with them on this holy relic? They just walked around there and waited outside.
Irene Hilton realized what he was going to do.
She asked. So you're going alone?
He replied.
I need you to help me outside the casino. If I signal, use the power of bankruptcy. After saying that, he left. That was today's homework. Seo Ju-hyun and Yu Jae-ha quickly arrived at the casino.
In front of him was a group of people happily playing cards and betting. He glanced at the red-haired and blonde-haired men.
How?
Blame it on his low morals. The other person was not convinced. But this was impossible. How could there be such a series of victories? Seo Ju-hyun walked over and patted him on the shoulder.
Okay, it's my turn. I want to play with these guys too.
The red-haired man looked up at him.
This is the first time I've met you. Do you think you're up to it? Seo Ju-hyun smiled and replied. I want to try it too.
The other person also agreed.
Okay, then come sit here.
Very quickly he was dealt the cards and the two of them played together. Seo Ju-hyun still did not forget his mission and explored everything around. He looked towards the corner of the table. The medicine and food were scattered on the corner of the table. Maybe she had hidden the holy relic in the middle. Use it to boost your luck. It's a nasty the holy relic. He smiled determinedly. Let me teach you what real bankruptcy is.
Seo Ju-hyun kept winning hands.
Straight flush, four of a kind, he didn't give the person in front of him a chance to win.
Seo Ju-hyun happily looked at the bewildered person in front of him. She trembled. How could this be? How did this happen?
He saw that and smiled.
Seo Ju-hyun said, maybe it's because I'm lucky, isn't it like you just now?
He continued in a low voice, I also know you used the holy relic to increase your luck. Suddenly her secret was exposed like that, she was scared. He reached toward the corner of the table and looked at what was here. He held the coin in his hand and said, the coin of the goddess of luck, it depends on the owner's wish to help it come true. He continued to provoke, but with a common the holy relic like this, it was still not enough. Did she know that the holy relic was very weak, only at C rank? I thought to myself, and I'm pouring SS class power on them. Irene Hilton came out of the casino and was using her bankruptcy power on everyone except Yu Jae-ha and me. Looks like she's gotten better at controlling it after the last few times. Everyone was unlucky except me anyway. She got angry when she saw that. You bastard, you knew about the holy relic from the beginning. He heard that and replied, don't be silly, give me the money. She reluctantly turned around, took the bag of money and handed it to him. He looked for a moment and said, that's not enough. He heard and was stunned. What did he say? Seo Ju-hyun said loudly, you have to pay more for cheating me, $1 million per game, give it to me now. She immediately panicked, what, where is the law? Seo Ju-hyun heard that and immediately pulled out his sword and threatened, oh, so you're not going to give it back to me. He continued, if there is no money, I will accept to pay with other things, because I am quite easygoing. The holy relic of Shuu, give it up, and what is Keira doing here, tell me everything in detail. She still couldn't stop asking him angrily, so you intentionally approached us for this purpose? You think our confidential information is that easy? Suddenly the soldier beside her painfully held his stomach. The people around asked, what happened? He painfully replied, his stomach felt like it was crushed. Seo Ju-hyun was confused, what's going on, I haven't done anything yet. The other guys kept screaming, suddenly all my teeth fell out, it hurt so much. I think he just realized something, could it be Irene Hilton? Sure enough, she was extremely panicked, something was wrong, I think I couldn't control it anymore. The bodyguard beside her saw this and asked, Miss, are you okay? She was worried, Seo Ju-hyun told me not to overdo it, what should I do? On the other side, she was painfully holding her chest, I will say everything I know, so stop immediately. Seo Ju-hyun was a bit surprised, I also wished she did it sooner.
However, I still don't know how to solve it.
She replied painfully, if you go a little north of this place you will find a forest, and inside there is a dungeon, there is something being grown under the dungeon.
Seo Juhyun and Yu Jaeha were both surprised, what the hell is down there?
She painfully tried to say, I'm not sure, anyway, if you want to enter that tomb, you must be a child, because the holy relic Shufu only allows children to enter.
Seo Juhyun understood, so that's how it was, I thought that woman had some weird the holy relic. She continued, that's all I know, can you stop it now? Seo Juhyun smiled and replied, sorry, I couldn't stop. Oh dear, this guy is a bit too stubborn.
After saying that he took out a medicine, but I will help you forget the pain this way. Yu Jaeha standing by saw this and was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat.
This way is too painful.
Seo Juhyun spoke up, I only did it because I needed to keep it a secret. If we untie her like the girl last time, they will immediately report to Keira. Then there will be trouble like when we were in Turkey.
Yu Jaeha reluctantly agreed after hearing what he said. I think you're right.
Suddenly, a system notification screen appeared in front of him. You have obtained the title of Unforgivable Prisoner, with the titles of the Destruction of the Prisoner. The Holy Relic Destroyer and the Shameless Rogue have been combined to obtain the hidden skill. The skill is always activated, helping you to increase your strength.
Seo Juhyun didn't seem to care much and asked another question, where is Irene Hilton anyway? He picked up the phone to check the situation, including the bodyguard's name.
Seo Juhyun called her bodyguard to ask if she was okay, she used that power just now and might have lost control.
Maybe it's too risky to use it.
Suddenly a bodyguard appeared behind him following her, he said in panic, something serious happened.
Seo Juhyun couldn't help but ask in surprise, what?
He replied, I lost track of Irene Hilton, I suddenly felt a little weak so I was a bit negligent. He recounted the incident, suddenly she kicked me and ran away, I tried to chase after her but couldn't catch up, I couldn't believe how strong and fast she was. Seo Juhyun was worried after hearing that, it was true, risky. He said, look around this place, she's just here. Yu Jaeha and the bodyguard also said one by one, I'll be in charge of this place, I'll go in the opposite direction. After dividing up, they immediately set out to find Irene Hilton.
Seo Juhyun ran while thinking hard about what would happen if he couldn't find her, should he use the purification map to find her?
But to use it, Irene Hilton's help was still needed.
Wait, I think he realized something.
Seo Juhyun immediately stopped, he just needed to find the light of power that Irene Hilton used just now.
Focus, I'm trying my best to think. Suddenly Seo Juhyun's eyes lit up as if he had found a clue.
It's over there, after finding him, he immediately ran forward.
Seo Juhyun arrived at a small hotel after a while.
As soon as I stepped in here, I wondered why she came to the hotel.
I didn't understand. Seo Juhyun walked up to the staff and asked, can I ask you something? Do you see a white girl with blonde hair here? The staff quickly replied, yes, you are her boyfriend? How lucky.
She said tiredly, please take her out of here and use me, it's too noisy. Even though I took her money, I can't accept this. After saying that, she gave him her room key.
Seo Juhyun quickly used it to open the door. He just walked in and found the person he was looking for.
Irene Hilton was so drunk that her face was red.
She kept calling Seo Juhyun's name.
He quickly went to clean up the bottles of wine she had drunk.
Was this a case of alcoholism? She drank too much.
He looked at the amount of alcohol she had drunk with some concern. Even if the effects of the risk wore off, she had drunk too much and he wouldn't be able to ask her anything until tomorrow morning.
Seo Juhyun sighed. It's better to sleep here until morning.
He reached over and brushed Irene Hilton's hair back. She looked so sound asleep.
I thought someone had taken my bag. Turns out she had.
Irene Hilton was immediately happy when she saw him.
This is the real Seo Juhyun. He asked her. Did she sleep well? Why did she drink so much?
But Irene Hilton threw her arms around his neck.
Seo Juhyun was startled at once.
She quickly pulled him closer to her.
I was waiting for Seo Juhyun, so I drank while waiting for you.
Seo Juhyun saw this and started sweating.
The risk is not over yet? Then what is the risk?
Irene Hilton still doesn't stop causing trouble after being drunk.
The two people lost their balance and quickly fell down.
Irene Hilton's hair smells so good. The two of them were already lips touching.
Seo Juhyun didn't react too strongly when he saw her like that.
Very quickly after that the two let go. Irene Hilton seemed unaware of the situation and still happily smiled at him. Very quickly she completely collapsed. At this moment, a system notification quickly appeared beside him.
This time the risk was aimed at your lips.
Oh my god, you just said something that everyone knows, I saw that and cursed under my breath. Tell me before it happens, you damn crow.
That was a damn risk.
But fortunately, I returned to the United States safely.
Their general asked, have you followed them like I said?
The other person quickly replied, they had traveled from Turkey to New York and then back to Ghana. People nearby said they used a special plane belonging to the George Hilton family. She heard that and thought for a moment.
Hilton?
Besides, one of the intruders in the Turkish dungeon was a woman. If she was a woman from the Hilton family, it was very possible that Irene Hilton knew them.
She continued to ask, so is there any news from Ghana?
The other person hesitated after hearing that, yes, but it was not good news. Some of the soldiers stationed there appeared to be mentally disturbed and were arrested after walking around the province naked.
They seem to have been mind-controlled by some ancient artifact.
She gritted her teeth in anger after hearing that. These bastards, don't even think about escaping from me this time.
Keira Clark sat down on the chair and asked again, but why did they go there?
There was nothing special there.
The other asked back, did the general have a dungeon in Ghana?
Keira replied, yes, but that holy relic was of no use in actual combat, so I took it to a faraway place.
Keira still had many questions, moreover, why did they need it? The other person replied, General, do you want us to launch a surprise attack?
She replied, this is not that serious yet, what I need is about the Hilton family.
The general ordered an investigation into the Hilton family. After finding Irene Hilton, they got in the car and left. Ujeha angrily asked, why didn't you contact me yesterday? If you found Irene Hilton, you should have at least given us an hour notice. Do you know how cold it is for me to sleep outside?
He replied shyly, there was a problem, Ujeha kept asking, so why didn't you pick up when I called? He recounted the incident, she hugged him so tightly, I couldn't get out, maybe that was the risk this time.
Ujeha was shocked after hearing that, what is this, don't tell me it's two people. Seo Juhyun didn't let him say anything and immediately shut him up, that was impossible. Ujeha kept teasing him, well, there's nothing to be shy about.
Irene Hilton's bodyguard begged her, Miss, please don't drink alcohol again in the future.
Everything is settled, Seo Juhyun said, okay, stop talking, we are entering the dungeon.
The system notification screen appeared in front of him again. Note, this dungeon can only be entered when you are a child, this dungeon has been conquered, and now has an owner. Seeing this, he immediately thought, someone went before him, but why didn't the owner of this dungeon close it, why did he have to do that? Thinking so, he still drove in, never mind, just go in and you'll see. He drove while talking, giving me some low-grade holy relics.
Ujeha heard him say that and became worried, was he planning to destroy the holy relic again?
He quickly accelerated and headed straight for the dungeon ahead, and sure enough, it was.
A huge explosion quickly followed. There is a hole in front, was it filled by someone else?
Seo Juhyun spoke up, why are you so surprised, once you get inside you'll be much more surprised.
The guard beside him was also scared, what, where are you going?
Seo Juhyun did not answer but only stepped on the gas to speed up the car. They in the car quickly rushed straight into the dungeon ahead.
The car is shaking non-stop, what the hell, is this a plan?
He smiled, if it is not a road then we will create it. They are not listening anymore, what is the reason now, let me up. It seems like there's still a dungeon left down here, I just have a feeling it's there.
This is the best way, the road ahead is blocked again, are you going to continue to destroy it? Sure enough, the car went through the rock ahead.
After the car stopped, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. They had stopped, they were alive, they thought they were in heaven. Next to him appeared the system screen again.
This is a dungeon that has been conquered by humans, so you can use human items.
He picked up the phone to examine it, oh, the phone really works.
Ujeha looked forward in surprise, what the hell? Big bro, look at that. Hearing the noise, Seo Juhyun immediately looked over.
Before their eyes was an endless expanse of green, a large tea field, how could they grow it in this place, as wide as 3 football fields combined?
And those kids too, are they being controlled? I clearly made a loud noise.
Seo Juhyun said in a low voice, this was truly a confusing scene. The system screen quickly explained, these people were controlled by the remains of the Shufu, the tea leaves were being harvested under the orders of the holy relic.
Seo Juhyun still didn't understand. Tell me more you damn crow. Is this tea garden also made of the holy relic?
It is a tea leaf that embodies a kind of human power. Even the dead can feel this power, once tasted it, a very indescribable fragrance. Ujeha kept looking around this tea garden made of Shinnong's the holy relic. Shinnong is a humanoid being with a pair of terrifying horns on his head, also known as Shinnong in Chinese mythology. Shinnong was the first to create farming tools and teach people how to grow crops. He also personally tasted herbs, including poisonous ones. If poison, simply chewing tea leaves can detoxify.
Ujeha asked him, what about the rest of the holy relic Shufu? Seo Juhian replied, it's also nearby. He frowned, now thinking back I feel a bit. This dungeon was created by the holy relic Shinon. Could it be that Keira has been here before? Why did she waste this tea plantation? If she didn't need it, then why didn't she close this dungeon? It is also possible that they wanted to take more of it instead of closing the dungeon. There was a restriction that only children could enter this tomb. She took the rest of the Shufu and lured children from nearby Ghana into labor. After Juhian spoke, we need to find the other half of Shufu. Onduk looked around, it was just somewhere around here, it also gave off a nice smell. Suddenly there was a loud noise that made him turn around in surprise. A child was biting Ujeha's hand and wouldn't let go. He was in pain. Big brother, my hand, those children are crazy. He also felt the danger and turned his head behind him. Sure enough, there were two children looking at him with very dangerous expressions. Seo Juhian did not give in and looked straight at them. They saw his scary face and immediately backed away. Seo Juhian quickly threw the rope towards everyone and said, tie the children up. Ujeha quickly grabbed the rope and knocked down the children. Very quickly, each one was completely controlled by him. After finishing, he immediately let out a sigh of relief. Luckily, he only got a small bite. Seo Juhian stepped forward to ask, are you okay? Ujeha replied uncomfortably, can't you see my hand is swollen? He didn't seem to care much about him and asked the other two, how are you two? They quickly replied, fine, but is Ujeha okay? He shouted again, big brother, it's over. Ahead were a series of children looking at them with bullet-like eyes and filled with dark aura. The children looked at them with threatening eyes. Ujeha was scared, it seemed like these kids were going crazy. Seo Juhian also realized that the situation was not good and troublesome. But he remained calm, but it also had a good side, because maybe the children were reacting to the remaining half of the holy relic. Ujeha was still worried, are you going to let us get bitten by it like before? Seo Juhian reassured. It's okay, the first time was just an accident, don't worry, it won't happen again. Suddenly a voice rang out from afar, those damned humans, daring to obstruct me, the kids can't concentrate on their work. Seo Juhian saw that and smiled, there you are. He quickly ran forward, got close to Irene Hilton, the holy relic going bankrupt will help us. The holy relic seemed to be angry this time, its aura was a bit special. He advanced and ordered, tie up the people in front for me. In a flash the rope caught the children. It just keeps grabbing them all. Almost all were contained. The holy relic shouted, you bastard, what have you done to the children? He said, I am your new master. That's it kids, I won't let any of you get away. The children saw him angry and immediately backed away in fear. Seo Juhian spoke up, if you don't listen to me, it will come true right now. Underneath his feet was an earthworm running away. Come out, the holy relic. He quickly stepped on it, where did you put the sashimi branch? It struggled in fear, how do you know me, you bastard? Seo Juhian laughed and replied, if I didn't know, there would be no way the tea plants here would be flourishing. Seo Juhian said loudly to everyone, is there a room nearby? I need everyone to help me find it, okay? He turned to the holy relic, so you still intend to bargain, huh? I also know you love money, I want to buy you, tell me, how much? Hearing him say that, he was surprised. How surprising that a person like you knows this. Actually, the money to bribe me is a bit expensive. Ujeha came forward and said, there is no room, big brother, but what about bribery and money? He took out the land and said, it's because of this. Shufu in the story when he left received a lot of support even though he left, but in the end never came back. In this sense, this guy brought the holy relic to blackmail. We need to sign a contract with it to use it, so while we were at the casino, I collected all their money. He looked at the earthworm and said, even this thing is risking its life for money. What a stupid holy relic, what does it use money for? He asked him, how do you see this contract? With that, he quickly opened his wallet to show the holy relic. It quickly crawled towards the money bag, the smell of money was unforgettable. Seo Juhian said, there was only 2 billion in that bag. Hearing that, he immediately raised his price, but it was still not enough. Human, you think you can bribe me with just this much? He quickly took out another bag of money, I knew you would say that. Another bag of money, it was immediately captured, with this much I can take my girlfriend out. Seo Juhian smiled, this amount was more than what Quan had paid him in his previous life, it was enough. He asked again, okay, now it's enough. She fumbled and replied, wait a minute, I'm counting the money. It replied, still not enough, man, we need a little more, still not enough tax money. Seo Ju-hyun was surprised. Keira, how much did she give you? Yu Jae-ha whispered to him, actually, most of the leader's money is poured into it, it must be quite a lot. He was a little embarrassed. Oh, is it that terrible? After all, I gave up all the cash I had prepared, everything I brought had to be handed over, including jewelry. In addition, the contract documents that are brought, all are delivered to it. Finally it is satisfied, I will follow you, master. After receiving the money, he immediately turned around, my previous master was not like that, but you are quite rich, so what can I do to help you? After capturing him, he locked him in a jar. Seo Ju-hyun looked at him, I finally caught you. I will take good care of you, he panicked, I followed you, what is this? He ordered, this was the first order, unhypnotize the children, let the children go home. He continued, making an exit. It panicked, what? If we do that the holy relic Shinon will go crazy. I'll take care of it myself, he replied. He asked for money again, okay, so the first fee is 7 million won. He angrily said, you want to collect more money again? She calmly replied, isn't it a deposit, no one works for anyone for free. Seo Ju-hyun had no choice but to give in, okay, I'll give it to you when we get out. But he was unreasonable, just give it to me now, why did he have to give it to me when we got out? After hearing that, he immediately got angry. He quickly shook the jar in his hand, do you want to pay first? I'll give it to you, I'll pay you back later, okay? It was scared and quickly agreed. The order was given again to hypnotize the children, you guys go to work. In a flash they were working at full capacity. Seo Ju-hyun saw that and said, we should also pack our things and get ready to go. The children were very good at harvesting tea leaves, some tea seedlings had been dug up and packaged. It was a terrible speed. The preparations for leaving here are over, but there is one problem. I can't leave too many of these kids in the car. Yu Jae-ha asked, what should we do? Seo Ju-hyun calmly replied, the only way is to take the luggage down and try walking around. Earthworm, help me get out of here. It was angry, the owner still hasn't given me the money just now, this sly thing. I knew what it wanted so I said, if you escape from here, then add 7 million won, okay? After hearing that, it turned around, we'll take a shortcut. He threw it towards Yu Jae-ha, take it will guide us. He looked at him confusedly, but what about the boss? He turned his head away, I need to get some more of the holy relic, give me the bag, I'll pick out a few things that might be useful. Another terrifying voice rang out, those humans. How dare they destroy my garden? Agriculture is the most important and profitable thing. Seo Ju-hyun seemed to have found what he was looking for, appear, the holy relic Shinon. He told them, everyone get out of here first, the holy relic Shufu will lead the way. After saying that, he ran forward, I will follow everyone later. Yu Jae-ha shouted, you must succeed, I'll throw it. Having said that, he immediately threw the bag at him. Suddenly a halo appeared before him. Is it coming from that briefcase? A barrier suddenly appeared around him, blocking everyone around. Seo Ju-hyun looked at them and said, I'm fine, go out first, I just need to deal with this holy relic and it will disappear. The holy relic Shinon said, you think you can catch me? You arrogant bastard. That is impossible. You will be punished for taking my farmers out of here. A series of tree roots quickly appeared under his feet, restraining him. Seo Ju-hyun quickly used his weapon to cut it off. He quickly focused his strength to form the move. That is the ice cover. He quickly escaped the trap that the holy relic created. He was surprised, how could a human like you? Seo Ju-hyun glanced around. I saw it. It was hidden in the middle of the tea tree. It was also a holy relic like the tea tree. He moved quickly. He had to get to it first. Suddenly Seo Ju-hyun stopped as if something was blocking his way. It's the poison that's constantly coming out of the tea tree ahead. He threatened. No matter how long you hold your breath, you will still die, let me see how long you can last. He heard that and immediately despised. Do you think I'm that easy to defeat? He held in his hand a holy relic. This was humanity's first Homo erectus stone, rank D, it was the holy relic that I got from those CIA bastards. Seo Ju-hyun quickly lit the fire. I'll burn this whole place down. Fire quickly spread throughout the place. He saw that and shouted loudly. This bastard. All around here is filled with fire. He said painfully. It's so hot. How dare you do that? Seo Ju-hyun laughed at that. Aha, this is better than I thought. He quickly ran towards him. There was also a story that Shinon could rule over fire. But unexpectedly, that was not the case. He took up his sword. You are now my holy relic. Suddenly the surrounding earth and rocks shook violently. He said loudly. I may not know how to use fire, but I know how to rule you. I will send you down to the bottom of this hole. Ujeha, who was outside, couldn't help but feel worried. He kept hitting the barrier and shouting his name. I'm falling down the rabbit hole. It's annoying. It's too deep. If you want to die, then die. Don't drag me down with you.
From below, several tree roots appeared and wrapped around his legs.
This time I won't let them go. I will turn you into fertilizer for the plants. Seo Ju-hoon is being dragged down the deep hole by him. The earth and rocks collapsed once again. It fell straight into the deep hole where Seo Ju was. The guard announced. This is bad. This place is about to collapse. We have to get out of here. Ujeha said worriedly.
But then my big brother will die.
And my things in the basket too. The tired bodyguard held his head. But don't you see that we are separated by a wall?
The earth and rocks kept collapsing.
Ujeha hesitated. Damn it. Finally he made up his mind. We have to get out. There is no other way. Seo Ju-hyun is still being controlled by him? He said.
Now you are just a mouse in my hand. Dying down here seems more suitable for you.
There is no hope left for you to live.
Ujeha quickly cut off the tree that was binding his legs.
Your existence makes me feel uncomfortable. Ujeha pondered for a bit. Shinon was also a god.
And this thing was likely anew the holy relic. It is difficult to control long term. He sheathed his sword and advanced towards him. Seeing this, he immediately provoked him.
You give up? Are you sure? Seo Ju-hyun said. I want to try it once. He picked up a stone. If you die before me here, I wonder if I can escape? If there's a big enough explosion, I'll be out of here. This is the only way I have left. He got angry when he heard that. What an idiot. Aren't you afraid? Are you also dragged into this explosion? Seo Ju-hyun smiled. I don't care. He commanded the stone.
The holy relic, use all your power now.
It said painfully. Master, if you do this, I will be ruined. Seo Ju-hyun didn't care and quickly lit the fire. A huge explosion followed immediately afterwards. The three of them outside also noticed the incident. Fire is constantly coming out of the mountain. Damn, this dungeon is about to collapse. In a moment it collapsed completely.
From the smoke and dust a figure emerged.
It was Seo Ju-hoon. Luckily he escaped. Ujeha and everyone else immediately ran over. I thought you were dead. Weren't you locked in there? How did you do that? Seo Ju-hoon replied. How could I die so easily? Don't worry too much. This dungeon has already been cleared by me.
Irene Hilton said, Ujeha was very worried about you, Seo Ju-hoon.
He immediately retorted. When was I worried? I was just asking.
He continued to explain shyly. Because he is my big brother.
If he dies, I don't know where to go. That's not good either. Seo Ju-hoon threw a few holy relics at him. That seemed like a good idea.
Unfortunately, we will be busy for a long time. So prepare yourself. Ujeha looked at what he had just thrown at him and asked.
Big bro, what are these two things? Seo Ju-hyun quickly explained. It was the holy relic Shinon.
It was injured. The rest of the flint was ruined.
I need you to fix it. He looked at it, a little speechless. It was a lump of coal.
Seo Ju-hoon heard that and threatened.
You mean you can't fix it? Ujeha was scared. No, I never said that. Of course I will fix it.
But in his heart, he thought differently. I think it's about to die. He threw another thing at him, along with the Hammurabi stone.
With that, they turned and left. Let's go home. I have some things to do.
The scene has shifted to Los Angeles.
They were fanning the tree. Playing flutes for it. Watering it. It looks more alive than I do now. Oh, Sung-woo asked in frustration. Are we going to continue like this forever, like farmers? The other guy said. No, I think we're more like plant stewards. How much longer is it? Suddenly a call from Seo Ju-hoon appeared on the phone screen. Oh, Sung-woo quickly picked up. Hello, big brother. Long time no see. What's up, big brother? To New York. Bring all that stuff? Yeah. I get it. The people behind heard that and asked, is it Seo Ju-hoon? What did he say? Oh Sung-woo replied. We need to go to New York. He said it again. Seo Ju-hoon told us to go to New York. Let's pack. We haven't been out in a while.
The plane finally landed. Ju-hyun was still sleeping soundly with his strange eye mask.
Jae-ha went to wake him up.
Big bro, hearing Ju-hoon slowly sat up.
What is it?
He replied.
We're in New York. Let's get off the plane. He was still in a daze. Yeah, I know. I'll be right up.
Even so, he still couldn't get up. His body kept swaying.
Irene also spoke up.
Ju-hoon, we're here.
Oh, you're awake?
She continued hesitantly, but we have some problems.
Ju-hoon asked. What problems? Irene replied.
I can't get in touch with the driver.
This has never happened before.
Ju-hoon heard and said.
We can take a taxi. It's okay. Okay, I'll try to contact you again. Hopefully nothing happens. Let's pack.
After getting in the car, Jae-ha said excitedly.
It's been a long time since I took a taxi. Ju-hoon seemed unaffected by his mood. He calmly asked. Still haven't been able to contact your driver? Irene replied. Yeah, I'm worried something happened at home.
Hearing that, his comforting voice rang out.
Don't worry too much. Irene. He smirked. We're almost there. I'll treat your parents right away.
Suddenly the phone rang, interrupting his thoughts. Ju-hoon looked down and saw the tree planting team calling. It was Oh Sung-woo.
He just picked up the phone.
The other end of the line shouted loudly.
Big brother.
Sung-woo hurriedly continued.
We are heading to the designated location, but the Americans keep chasing us.
Ju-hoon's voice rang out.
Are you guys being tailed? Why? They keep chasing after us to take that almond tree. Hearing that, Ju-hoon fell into thought. That was true. Because it was something everyone wanted.
It seemed like he was too careless. I guess I need to summon a fire to get there in time. The holy relic elixir. The system screen appears.
The summoning is rejected. Elixir is rebelling against your domination.
After reading those lines, Ju-hoon was so anxious that he broke out in a sweat. The other end of the line kept asking for help.
Big bro, what should we do?
Ju-hoon had no choice but to give the order.
Go to the location I told you earlier. Now try to run. The gloomy voice that came through made Sung-woo panic no less. If you get caught, you're done with me.
Irene, who had been listening, turned to ask.
What's wrong? What happened to your friend? It's a bit troublesome.
They'll take care of it, he continued. But Irene's face still showed worry.
We just need to get to the appointed place quickly. Driver, can you go a little faster? Not knowing what to think, Irene's emotions suddenly sank.
Jae-ha spoke up. Well, this path was blocked from the start. The traffic on the road was jammed. The sound of digging continued.
What kind of business was this? Why didn't they take another route?
But there was no other way. The driver frowned in frustration.
You think we're the only ones stuck here? There are many people behind us just like us. Let's take another route. Hurry. He replied. We've been in here for a while now. There's no turning back.
Hearing that, Ju-hyun frowned uncomfortably. Irene's eyes filled with tears.
What should I do if something happens to your friend and my parents?